Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
But inside is so delightful.
It's Christmas in July.
Let's review.
Let's review.
Let's review.
Want more?
Look for.
Season 4.
Bum.
Bum.
Oh, God, help us all, Dragon. We are back. Christmas in July. We're getting towards the end here, folks. We're not doing a full 25. We're only doing 12. So, we're chugging along here. We're chugging along. But, Dragon, I would say this is easily, for both of us, probably the most difficult pitch that we've ever had to come up with, right? Is that an easy statement?
Yeah, that's an easy statement.
Oh, God. So we are pitching a Christmas special for 13 Reasons Why.
A feel-good show of 2017.
I know, right? Now, there's a few challenges that come with this. Of course, there's the sensitive source material. There's the sensitive subject matter. Of course, we have the whole, the fact that season 1 ended on a massive cliffhanger. We have, like, a very limited timeline with the main character of Hannah to work her into things. Oh, it's going to be interesting, Dragon. It's going to be interesting.
You won't believe, like, the time I put into figuring out the timeline, which is very dodgy, and it's like the nightmare. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
You don't want to know, though. Like, you don't want to know, like, the months I had to figure out.
The months? Was it literal months?
Well, I mean, literally, I had to figure out, like, when the events happened. So months.
Right.
It didn't take me months to figure. It's like, oh God, it's like, because technically this happens, but no. I mean, then I'm reading theories that, well, actually, it's supposed to be vague because it's terrifying. That I don't know.
All right, so Dragon, allow me to lay out kind of the fundamentals of my pitch. My special is going to be an hour-long special on Netflix in between seasons 1 and 2. It's going to be called 13 Days of Christmas. Yeah. So basically, Dragon, let me lay out the format here. I kind of hinted before we went on air that I was working with a Christopher Nolan-style nonlinear storytelling, and you were like, "Oh, Tiki, that's great. I'm sure you'll do great with it."
Yeah.
So, okay. So basically, my format is it's Christmas. It's the Christmas after Hannah Baker's suicide. Everyone's trying to get back to normal. Everyone's trying to reel from the events. There's some things that went down with Tyler Downs. We're not exactly sure what it is. We're kind of leaving that ambiguous. And basically the premise is Tony has been going around leaving stocking stuffers for people on the list. And we also get a few other characters that aren't on the list. For example, Tony himself gets a stocking stuffer. Basically, I cut out Justin Foley the second time Justin Foley gets a tape. And then I cut out Sherry because I could do nothing with Sherry. Sherry's just a nothing character to me. I cut out Sherry.
She kind of is responsible for someone else dying, so she's kind of important.
Yeah, well, she's nothing in terms of her personality. Like, I don't know. She's kind of like Courtney Light, right?
Okay, but you know what? Well, again, she's not mean at all. She just did something very irresponsible.
I guess so.
Anyway, I just want to specify. So you're in between seasons, right?
I am in between seasons. Like I said, we're going to have some ambiguous hints that something went down with Tyler Downs, but we're not going to know exactly what. Okay. So it's possible that like season 2 could be like kind of like taking place like like after this or before this,
I think there's actually a really good chance that season 2 might open in January, to be honest. I do feel there's a good chance of that.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, the whole point is it's Christmas time. Everyone's trying to get over the wounds of Hannah Baker's suicide when suddenly these stocking stuffers, which, just for logistic purposes, Dragon, instead of being tapes, they're literally just handwritten notes in Hannah's own writing that she prepared. So that's basically the gist of it. So essentially what Hannah's doing with these stocking stuffers, Dragon, is after the bombshell that was the tapes, Hannah wants to give people closure on everything. And she wants to leave people with some sort of positivity and something positive that they did that influenced Hannah Baker's life in some way. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm sort of getting at like the reversal of the 13 Reasons Why, where here's how you fucked up my life. The whole point of these stocking stuffers is we're going over small moments that Hannah saw the good in these people. And so basically it's called 13 Days of Christmas because it starts on December 1st and it ends on December 13th, which is the school Christmas dance and also the last day before winter break. So we have a nice sort of like 2-week time period of, like leading into winter break and leading into the school dance. I have parallels between the school dance. The school dance plays a big role, of course, in the flashbacks. Any other questions about that general format?
I'm sure they'll come through.
Okay. So I mostly went in order, but like I said, I did change around a couple things, mostly towards the end when it comes to the order, like when we get to Justin Foley's second tape. But let's get to Justin Foley. Now, of course, Dragon, you'll remember at the end of season 1, Justin Foley.
So you are firing into Act 1?
Yes, I'm firing into Act 1.
I'm saying you want to start that. I'm saying I thought you might be going off continually on the other thing, but we're firing into Act 1. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. You don't want to set up yours, do you?
I mean, I can do it when I get to mine. So I mean, just go on with yours.
Okay. Just to be clear. Okay.
Act 1.
So Justin Foley has been living on the street since the end of season 1. He's been isolated from all his friends. He's been going from abandoned building to abandoned building. He's been basically kind of squatting in a lot of different places, and it's just not working out for him. Like, he keeps getting kicked out. He's been arrested a couple times, and he just and basically jail has kind of become a safe haven for Justin in a way. The fact that, it's kind of one of those things with homeless people where they'd rather be in jail than on the streets during the winter seasons in some cases. But the episode picks up when Justin is released from jail. When I say jail, I mean like a juvenile facility, whatever, I'm assuming. And he has nowhere to go. He has no one. He has nothing. He has scrapped all the resources of, scrapping together like all the abandoned buildings in the town and whatnot. So the only place he has left to go is a bridge. So basically Justin has become, for lack of a better word, a troll. No, I'm just kidding. So Justin has taken residence over the bridge. And as we go through this day, we see that, at first Justin's very reluctant. It's very tough to, his ego's sort of hurt because he hears parents kind of like whispering like, oh, keep the kids away from the man under the bridge, like he might have some sort of disease or something, like really awful, like kind of gossip just because Justin's homeless. And so he's really, really not liking it. That is until, I'm not telling this well at all, but that is until he gets kicked out of the place. He starts to develop a fondness for it towards the night because, of course, he needs it during the night, but there's homeless people there. And they get into kind of a squabble with Justin over the tunnel. And that squabble leads to Justin getting injured, all the homeless people taking the tunnel, except for one homeless person who's a little bit younger than all the other homeless people, who helps Justin get to a hospital. And that's kind of where we end off. I'm realizing some plot holes.
I'm realizing it's a really short Act 1, it sounds like.
This is Act 1 covers the first 4 days, Dragon.
Oh, okay. That's how you might want to lead with that one. Covers 4 days.
Yeah, this is only day 1. Act 1 covers 4 days. So.
All right, keep going.
Okay, so I don't know. Like I said, my moments are mostly vignettes and whatnot. But then we do see that Tony has found the hospital where Justin is staying, and he does deliver a note to Justin. At this point, everyone knows that Tony has control of the tapes and everything, and he gives Justin a note to read, and this leads us into our first flashback, where we discover, knock on your holiday tropes right here, Hannah Baker is actually Jewish.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Believe it or not, Dragon, it's actually mentioned in the book.
Really? Oh, yeah. Man, I wish I knew that. Now I feel silly. Darn it.
So yeah.
Well, now mine's going to be wrong.
Oh,
sorry, folks.
Don't worry. I don't know.
If you shared that with me before I was structured, it might be an important detail.
Okay, so basically Hannah is the gym, we see the PE gym like throughout the 14 days, and also in the flashbacks, we're seeing the PE gym kind of being transformed for the school dance while PE is going on. And the school dance is obviously all Christmas and wintry, and Hannah's just a little bummed out by the fact that just the classic sort of like being one of the few Jewish students in school. And she's in the she's getting picked on by different students and everything, of course, kind of the same reasons that we saw on the show as well, sort of the rumors and everything like that. Like, we can see she's just not having a good time, as well as just like everyone's just running around like in the Christmas spirit, and she just does not have Christmas spirit. So we have a nice little moment where after PE is over, Hannah's picking up the PE equipment and everyone's out of the gym, and she starts praying. She starts praying to, to her God. And Justin comes in. She starts praying in Hebrew, basically. And Justin comes in, and he makes a genuine attempt to try and learn Hebrew with her, because he, at this point, him and Jessica are kind of on the rocks. And he makes it very clear, like, look, I'm not trying to, like, I know that what I did was messed up. I want to apologize. And so he's basically trying to mend this fence. Now, of course, the important thing to note, Dragon, is that in the notes, we see that Hannah is not, she's like, you still played a role in what happened. Like, you still got the ball rolling on the rumor. And while I might forgive you for that, Justin, I can't forget it. But the important thing is that she also can't forget the kindness that Justin showed him. And basically, in this little spot of winter, while Hannah was going through a lot of things, Justin and a lot of other people, in their own ways, showed these little acts of kindness that, if basically the whole thing is like, of course, Justin's very empathetic towards people because he has been in his own shitty situation, his own shitty home life, but he doesn't like to show it that much, right? Like, he's a sensitive person, but he doesn't like to show off the fact that he's a sensitive person. And of course, Jessica catches Hannah with Justin in the gym, and that leads to, just drama, and it leads to, Hannah's basically like, Justin, I know you weren't trying to get with me. I know you weren't trying to cheat on Jessica. I know you were just reaching out to me in a friendly moment, so that kind of stuff. So like I said, it's like the deeds that were done in the series are still there, but Hannah is wanting to give these people some sort of closure because she fully acknowledges, basically she kind of acknowledges what other people have pointed out, which is like that it's just really messed up to some of these people who didn't even really realize what they were doing. You know what I mean? To like rope them into this and guilt trip them and whatnot. So this is kind of like Hannah, like she's planned this out a little bit, right? Like she's planned it out even more than we thought with the stocking stuffers, that she wants to definitely, as I said, it's not necessarily a Christmas present by any stretch, but it is closure. That's the point of these notes. All right, next, day 2. Jessica is working with a proper therapist. She's in a bit of the Hannah role because she's just kind of desperate and lonely. Her alcohol problem has only gotten worse. She's been isolated from her friends. She's been depressed. She's barely gotten out of bed. Bad stuff with Jessica, just bad stuff all around. And, of course, the worst part about this, Dragon, is that we're revealed in this scene as Jessica is, like, reluctantly going to school. Bryce is still at school, and Bryce is still popular. And so from that, we can deduce that Mr. Porter probably hasn't done a damn thing about the tapes yet. And Jessica, basically this day kind of cuts in between Jessica at school. Like, we kind of get an edit where it's Jessica in school, seeing Bryce walk down the halls and everything, and like Bryce is a pariah to the people on the tape, right? But not everyone's on the tape. So he's still super popular. You know what I mean? Like, he's a pariah to a select number of people. But because everyone's reluctant to get that information out and the repercussions of it, he's still rolling the school. Like, he's still Mr. Popular. So that's kind of one of those things that really stings with the special, Dragon, is that sometimes shit just doesn't change. So basically, the big thing that Jessica and her therapist are going over in between, Jessica at school, like we're cutting back and forth between this conversation and Jessica in school, is the idea of confronting Bryce. Should she confront Bryce? Should she say anything? Would it be dangerous to say something? Would it be helpful to say something? Would it lead her into a deeper depression? They're basically making all these, and they don't really come to any sort of decision because, of course, it's obviously a tricky matter, but that's what they're kind of discussing. And, of course, Tony is able to find Jessica's at Monet's, where we get a little bit of a flashback with the note. It's just it's kind of an easy, sort of, basically Hannah and Jessica run into each other by chance. This is a little bit before the incident with Justin in the gym, so there's not that drama. There's still kind of like the unspoken stuff going on with Alex, with Alex and everything, but there's not the drama with Justin. Anyways, so basically at Monet's, they're kind of swapping cultural stories. Jessica's talking about how their grandparents come down every year and they have to practice Kwanzaa, and no offense, we all know how crazy Kwanzaa can be from the Proud family. And so basically Hannah and Jessica are kind of like swapping cultural stories about Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. And, Hannah's just kind of reminiscing about the good times and about how two people from two radically different backgrounds who probably wouldn't have even spoken to each other had it not been for, for this ridiculous kind of like, oh, I'm going to force you two to be friends therapist thing. It's just a kind of nice little Hallmark moment. Okay, day three. Oh, God. Okay, Dragon, I'm really proud of day 3, all right? This is where it gets good.
Okay.
So day 3 is Alex's father trying to deal with being a divorced son, or being a divorcee, and losing his son over the holidays.
So you're saying Alex is dead?
I'm saying Alex is dead.
Again, just to refresh folks on where we left it. Again, nothing saying Tiki's thing can't happen, but so let's remember Alex is in critical condition where we last left him. Episode 13 of 13 Reasons. Critical condition.
Yeah. I'm saying Alex is dead, Dragon. I'm pulling the trigger on this.
All right, I'm just like setting the stage for why we can just say Alex is dead.
I know. So basically, this is a very short segment, but it's kind of powerful in the middle of everything. Is we see Justin, or Alex's dad, just kind of like, again, in a depressed state. Like, that's one of those things with this special, is that we see all these characters sort of at a low point being pulled up by the tapes, right? Or by the notes, rather. So instead of the tapes kind of dragging everyone down into this web of conspiracy and drama, the whole point of this is kind of like a catharsis. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, all right, we need to, Hannah, like I said, Hannah's trying to cleanse the palate, but this tape is actually not made by Hannah, Dragon. This tape is, it's actually a mixtape, and it's made by Tony, who's directly giving it to the father and Tony's basically talking about, like, while Alex was definitely a troubled kid at school, and while Tony never really had that much of an interaction with him, Tony kind of goes on about how he's sort of a wallflower at the school and how he likes to observe other people, and Alex was one of the nicest kids in the whole school. And he just stresses this. He tells the father a bunch of stories about it. He tells the father the story about, like, even though Tyler Downs, we know what happened with Tyler Downs, we don't want to talk about what happened to Tyler Downs. But Alex defended him, so even as someone as troubled as Tyler Downs, Alex could see the good in. And basically, long story short, Dragon, this tape that Tony makes Alex's father prevents Alex from killing himself because, of course, he has the gun. He's a police officer. He could, we see him kind of like handling the gun. Like, we don't see him like dramatically put it in his mouth or anything, you know what I mean? But we see shots of the gun. We see him kind of handling the gun throughout the day, sort of like looking at it, staring at it. So we know what's in his mind. It's like, this is 13 Reasons Why. So of course that subject's got to be breached. And this Tony's gesture kind of gets Alex's dad out of the depression. All right. Day 4. Are you ready to find out what happened to Tyler Downs?
Yeah, sure.
He's in a juvenile detention center, but his crime is left ambiguous.
Yes. Questionable because traditionally in a school shooting, the shooter does not make it out of it alive.
Well,
I'm saying usually. I'm just saying that's why it's ambiguous. You don't know. Maybe it's a miracle exception. Maybe it didn't go down the way we all thought it would. It's unclear.
Mm-hmm. So Tyler gets 2 visits. He gets 2 visits throughout the day. He gets a visit from his parents, and that's a really, really painful visit. It's very awkward. We don't really know exactly how long Tyler's sentence is going to be, but basically what is implied through the conversation is that this is the first Christmas of what will be many Christmases where Tyler's going to be locked up and away from the family. And yeah. So that's a painful visit, but then he gets a more sympathetic visit from Tony. And so Dragon, the flashback, the note that Tony gives to Tyler is about a day where Tyler came into the pharmacy as Hannah's mother and father were kind of arguing over the financial situation of the pharmacy, as we've seen in the series, and basically like they're a couple $100 away from paying the rent for the building, but they don't have it and it's due in like a day, and so what are they going to do? Well, Tyler comes in to develop his roll of film because Dragon, the way I see the pharmacy is kind of like a Rite Aid, right? Like,
yeah, I can buy that.
Yeah, like they, because they do the medications, but you also see everyone, like we saw like nail polish and stuff like that being bought. So I could see them being a photo center there. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but so basically they have a few high-end cameras for sale in their photo department, but they're just sitting on the shelf kind of collecting dust. Tyler hears about this, and Hannah, meanwhile, is kind of like in the background sort of sweeping up. And Tyler hears the parents arguing, and he asks them to buy the camera. And the camera's $300, and it's going to put them over the hill when it comes to the rent for the month. And so that small gesture basically led to Hannah not being kicked out of the streets on Christmas. And now Hannah makes it very clear in her note, Tyler, like, I wish that you had that sort of same heart. I wish that things would turn out differently, because that is truly one of the nicest things someone's done for me, even if you might not have even realized that those were my parents. You know what I mean? And so Hannah's just very remorseful about what happened with Tyler. She's like, there's a way that you could have been saved, Tyler. There's a road that you could have gone down that wouldn't result in you being what you are. But unfortunately...
I'm sorry, I gotta get this camera detail straight here.
Okay.
So who is in jeopardy if they didn't have $300?
The mother and father.
I mean, Tyler's or Hannah's?
Hannah's mother and father.
Okay.
They needed the big purchase, basically.
Okay.
That makes sense?
I got it now. Keep going.
Okay. Because they were one day away from rent being overdue. They needed someone to make a big purchase. They weren't going to get off by just, like a pack of smokes here or there or whatever. And Tyler came in and kind of saved the day, put them over the edge at the last minute.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So then, now there's going to be a couple more things with Tyler later on, but basically that's the end of Tyler for now. And yeah, that's let me see. I'm breaking up. Let's do one more day. And no, not the terrible Spider-Man comic.
We're not gonna make a deal with the devil here.
No. I'm sorry. I'm just like doing the math on like where to end my acts. Okay, so are we ready to talk about everyone's favorite character, Courtney Crimson?
Everyone knows it's Courtney.
It's Courtney. Oh God. Okay, so luckily, Dragon, you'll be happy to know that Courtney has been completely ostracized from her social circle.
Yeah!
Because, I mean, come on. After the tapes got out and everything, and just her fake personality just was shown to everyone on full display.
Yeah.
And people talk. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, the thing with Bryce is a little more sensitive, right? Like, the thing with Bryce is sort of like it's like a landmine, right? Like, you don't want to step on the landmine. But something like Courtney is a lot more like gossipy, right? Like, oh, Courtney Crimson isn't as nice as she says she is. Did you hear what she did to
She's
Hannah Baker?
not
A nice girl. No, she's not.
She is not a nice girl.
Oh God. So, let me see. So she's on an assignment. What?
Words getting around. Just helping you.
Oh yeah.
You go.
So she's on an assignment to buy some items. She's been given, a couple $100 from Mr. Porter to buy items for the school raffle. And when we see Mr. Porter, we also get a brief shot of Mr. Porter, like, as Courtney leaves his office. He takes out the 13 tape, Dragon. He still has the 13 tape.
Yes.
The son of a bitch, he still hasn't turned it in yet.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, Courtney is she's buying presents, right? Like she's going to the department store, she's buying stuff. The only flaw, and this is such a Courtney thing to do, is that all of these raffle things, like all these things that are supposed to be given away for a raffle, are basically things that are on Courtney's wish list. And she's like so self-obsessed, right? That like, oh, if I want them, then obviously everyone else wants them. So there's no moral here. Courtney just ends up ruining the raffle. And we'll get into the details of the raffle later. Like there's this whole charity raffle going on and everything like that. Well, we'll get into all that. So Courtney just basically really, really, really messed up. And then we see a flashback, and we see in the flashback, this kind of connects back to Tyler and back to what Hannah was talking about when it comes to Tyler going down a different path. Basically, Courtney offered to go to this winter dance with Tyler out of pure sympathy, just pure sympathy. And also, pure just like street cred, like, hey, look, aren't I such a good person for taking this lonely kid to the dance, right? Like, he's basically an accessory to her, just like Hannah was.
Right.
Of course, much like Hannah, as soon as they get to the dance, Courtney just instantly ditches Tyler. However, Hannah notes that while it was cruel of Courtney to abandon Tyler the second she got to the dance, she appreciates the fact that Tyler was there, and Tyler was happy in the first place just by having someone ask him. And she could tell that, even that beer act was the nicest that anyone's been to Tyler in a long time. And Tyler was sort of just enjoying the night, just going around taking the yearbook photos, of course, which would lead to a darker connotation later on.
Yes.
And Courtney and Hannah is like, Courtney's like one of the few people. And again, this is probably just me being a fan, being like, fuck Courtney, I don't want to give her closure. You know what I mean? But basically, it's like, Courtney, not only did you fuck up with me, but God knows what Tyler Downs did. We don't know what Tyler Downs did. And of course, Hannah doesn't know what Tyler Downs did either. But that's got to be in the back of Courtney's mind as she's reading this. Like, you turned Tyler Downs into a stalker. You kind of broke him. Like, if you would have just nurtured him a little bit, if you would have just spent a little bit of time with him, if you would have just lent a helping hand, Courtney, aren't you supposed to be the person who's there for people when they fall down? Or is hanging out with Tyler Downs too much of a stigma on your reputation? Is just using Tyler Downs as an accessory as far as you're willing to go with social interaction with them. So she's really drilling into Courtney, which of course Courtney, with the context of like Tyler Downs did something really, 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 really bad, like, oh God. So basically it's Courtney's fault that Tyler Downs is the way he is.
Okay.
Because fan vindication. And that's the end of my Act 1, Dragon. You'll notice a lack of Clay. Clay has a short...
I notice it. I happen to notice it.
Clay, I know. I just want to address that. Clay has a short but pivotal role in the special. That's all I'll say. So.
Okay.
All right, Dragon. So let's get to your Act 1. Do you want to set up anything about the format or bring any devices?
Yeah, let me see here. So mine, I didn't really come up with a name, but I mean something that's kind of vaguely themed to mine, just to kind of phrase it like this, I guess. It's a 13 Reasons Why Christmas.
Okay. Okay. I think 13 Days of Christmas is a little more clever, but I'll go with it.
But I'm just saying, I mean, I didn't really have to come up with
Because 13 Days of Christmas, it's like, it's like combining the 13 Reasons Why and the 12 Days of Christmas. It's like, it's funny.
Mine just takes place over the course of about 2 days, so that really wouldn't work for me. 13 Days of Christmas.
Fair enough. Well, that's the juggling act with me, right? It's like I'm trying to have all these events play out over a course of about 2 weeks and having different things affect each other, which you'll see more and more going into the second and third act, how the different stories kind of crisscross into each other. So,
right. Well, essentially mine is, again, Clay is definitely a focus of mine, so I guess there's something we differ on. I'm definitely kind of in the same setting. This is kind of usually my wheelhouse on Christmas July, kind of playing the guesswork between seasons. I've kind of done that. I've done that a lot.
But it was not your wheelhouse this time around.
Not this time. I'll admit, folks, this is not my Michelangelo by any stretch. This is not. It's not my finest work. It's a little more vague. I like to make it. I like to really kind of pound out the details. I usually go for plausibility. Like, this actually could happen as a special, and I'm like kind of halfway going there somewhat. I think the majority of this could happen, but again, I don't really have all the dialogue worked out exactly how I wanted to. Just think of this as a really rough draft for a pitch for 13.
I mean, that's mine is a very rough draft as well, so you're in good company there.
Exactly, and I guess anything else. Again, I think it's going to be pretty kind of self-explanatory. I guess there's a big theme of aftermath in this. So you have there's a past and the present storyline going on, very linear. They're interconnected. Mm-hmm. Basically, try to make it as much as like basically a Christmas themed episode of 13 Reasons Why that would kind of bridge between the seasons. That's kind of what I'm going for. There's a lot of aftermath and the big kind of moral. Well, again, the thematic thing this episode is so now that Clay has gotten justice, or at least he's really built the path for justice for Hannah Baker. Now he's just kind of it's kind of that question of moving on, but also moving on after a trauma. So now that all the conspiracy and controversy of Hannah Baker's kind of been dealt with in season one. It's kind of like how it's kind of the bigger question of how do you move on after someone you've loved has committed suicide. That's kind of the undercurrent.
Okay.
Also got a little bit of just very vaguely, it's sort of like a Christmas caroling of past, present, future is worked in as well.
Right.
It's a past, present, future, and some other Christmas references. So that's just kind of the that's the crux of it. I'll say Clay. There are some surprising characters. At least I worked in reference to the characters. Not all of them are taking center focus, but again, Clay and another mysterious character. I tried to capture the mystery element I really liked in the very beginning of 13 Reasons Why. Let's just say episode 1 and episode 13 are really kind of the biggest influences on this one. Okay, so breaking down Act 1. Act 1, snow is falling. We have snowfall set to basically open like a little neat sequence here. Visually, we see snow falling, and we're driving by familiar shots, familiar locations like the school, the Baker drugstore. Yes, the Baker drugstore, the cafe. Like, what was the cafe called? Like
Monet's.
Like those familiar locations from the first season, and it's all set to Vince Guaraldi's "Christmas Time Is Here."
Oh God. Okay.
Christmas time is here. That's kind of playing. All this is going on. Again, it's kind of like it's kind of a bizarre non sequitur into again, such a dark show. We're having such kind of a light opening, but it's still a dreary opening. Very much kind of like the opening of the Peanuts was. So again, we have shots of familiar locations. We see the reason for kind of seeing these shots is that Clay and Tony are driving. At the top up. It's not warm anymore.
So I assume Clay and Tony are like the Linus and Charlie Brown.
Exactly, and that's just that's kind of the theme I was going with. And I kind of decided to go fully into the whole. Let's embrace the Charlie Brown of it all.
Oh.
So let's see. So Clay, Clay's looking conflicted out the window as he tends to do. Again, kind of like Charlie Brown, kind of leaning on the wall.
Right.
The car, in many ways, is the wall. I will say.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's see. So then we have just set to the same music. The idea is like the course, like the 3-minute course of the song, maybe like a little less. As we're seeing we're visually catching up with a lot of these characters, kind of seeing we're hinting at what their comeuppances are. Again, I don't know the full answers to this. I'm just going by what I could feasibly guess where we're heading with these these characters. So, again, you're not hearing what they're going for. If you're hearing anything, it's really, really muted while the music's playing over it. We see a brief montage of aftermath. So we see, and also there's a little detail I should have made clear. I'll make clear here is that the depositions. As we were watching the last episode, they're going to get some details down, and the depositions were done on November 10th. 2017. That's when the series ends. November 10th, 2017, which again allows this Christmas special to be more and more feasible.
So I think with mine, just for context, this is going to be like about a year after the depositions.
Really? You don't want to just go like a month?
No, because I kind of wanted to have more of the passage of time, like. Because if it was a month, then I think it'd be more kind of like this. The wounds would still be kind of healing.
Well, that's where mine's going. Then mine's like a month and like change.
Well, that's where we can differentiate from. Yours is a month and change. Mine is like a year.
Exactly. So that's we'll just set that up right now so people kind of know where we're coming. I didn't know you were going that way with it. Okay, so we got that settled.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see. So we have the suggestion with the there's. With the suggestion we got at the end of episode 13, was the idea that Tony gave the Bakers the flash drive with all the tapes converted.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, I'm just and based on in Tony's own words here, it's kind of blown up the world, but we don't know every little way it's affected the world quite yet. So the idea is like they've submitted.
So is it like maybe like kind of like a media storm that's following it?
It's like it's not exactly a media storm, but there's like a legal storm going on here. Basically, it's blown up the world, and let's say come January, the world's going to be a different place. That's kind of the idea. And this is like the calm before that storm. This is like the lawyers, this big piece of evidence, because I can't imagine why the parents would not submit this as evidence, because it's exactly what they need. So they've taken this, they've listened to it, they've submitted it into evidence. It's unclear what Porter's done yet. I don't know exactly what Porter's done with the tapes, if he still has them, or like that's why I have to keep it vague for a lot of this. But let's just say the parents have submitted evidence, and because of this, the lawyers, including Clay's mother, are really sitting on this, and they're strategizing where to go next with this. And we're basically, this is during the Christmas break. We don't in the present we don't go into the school in the present. The flashbacks we do in the present we're out. It's Christmas, like the week of Christmas.
You see, with mine, I kind of specifically had a structure to put you in the headspace of like those couple weeks before Christmas break.
So here are the few certainties I kind of play with just visually what we're seeing as Christmas time is here is playing. So Marcus lost work. We're inside Marcus's house. He lost his scholarship. He's being chastised by his parents. Like they're kind of yelling.
Poor Marcus.
Yeah, really mean Steve. We see Courtney's fathers. We see kind of a variety of things here. So Courtney's fathers are like, they're not yelling at her, but they're very distant, very disappointed. It's like we see like a breakfast scene or something where she's just kind of eating alone, and like the fathers are like kind of like, it's very, very distant. Like I don't know how to. I'm so ashamed.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Let's see. Then no, I'm saying that's what they're feeling. They're feeling
right.
Yeah, they're feeling very ashamed of this. Zach, now this is something I was blown away by on the rewatch, is that this raises so many questions about Alex for me. Zach received text and a call from Alex. He called Alex, and Alex picked up the phone, saying like, "Hey, did you get done your deposition?" He says, "Call me." He calls him, and Alex picks up and he says, "Hello," but this is like supposedly the same day we hear like
I got to admit, I totally forgot about that.
It was unclear how the editing worked on that. So the point is, I didn't really dwell on like kind of the state of Alex, because there's so many questions raised from that.
Fair
enough. The point is, Zach, after that call and after what happened with Alex, the suicide attempt, which critical condition, I genuinely believe they're going to keep him alive just based on the fact that we're not instantly just saying he's dead. It's just a guess.
Okay.
Anyway, so Zach is just looking hauntingly at his phone, like he's just terrified of what. Basically, he's haunted by the fact that he was called by Alex, who then committed. Justin is alone, and he's in a very bad place, as we were leading up to in that last episode. That again, he's drinking more. He was pleading with Jessica. He was actually willing to. I don't know if you remember this. He was willing to kill Bryce if it would bring Jessica.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah.
He's really desperate, and he informed Bryce of what was going on. He told him about the tapes and everything. He kind of gave him a warning, then he walked away from him. So the point is, Justin is in a very dangerous, bad place. And I don't want to speculate what season 2 type stuff. But let's just say Justin's alone. He's in a bad place. And lastly, Jessica, we see again. We end on a little bit of hope in this. Jessica's in a support group.
Nice. I had her there.
It was kind of like her.
I had her more on one-on-one counseling, but that's good. Yeah.
I'm not saying like a support group. You know, I think she needs like company, I guess. Just like other women who've been through the same thing. So
Sure,
we see
sure.
like in like a circular group. You know, like Tissue's like present at each table next to him. You know, it's kind of signaled there. Okay, let's see. So then it's revealed that why are we hearing Christmas time is here? It's revealed that the song is playing on the radio. Importantly, not a tape. It's playing on the radio.
Okay.
They turn it off when they arrive, like I think like Tony turns the radio off as they arrive, and we reveal what they've been driving to. They've been driving to the Baker's drugstore.
All right.
So let me set the stage here. So Tony gets out first. Clay's taking a breath because it's really tense being here because I want to make it clear for this special too. He has never interacted with Andy Baker, Hannah's father. He's never interacted with her father.
Right. Yeah, sure. That's true.
Only the mother. So, Clay's taking a breath. Tony's asking, are you sure? Because the idea is this is Clay's idea and Tony's his wingman here. Again, his Linus to his Charlie Brown, if you will. And, Clay sees Andy Baker in the window and he's just like, yeah, I'm sure. And the idea is Clay's moving forward after, I already mentioned this. I wrote my notes. Didn't Hannah justice? And it's like, how do you move on from tragedy and loss? I already went through that. So the boys are visiting and showing support to the Bakers around the holidays because, of course, it's going to be the first holiday without their daughter after losing her. I'd say, like, again, we don't know how much time passes in the. You can track it by the days, I guess. Let's say a month, maybe two of the first season. Let's say.
All right.
Time passes. I'm just playing a little fast and loose with like the timeline stuff. The wounds, as Steve said, the wounds are fresh. So let's just go with that. The wounds are fresh. It's the first Christmas without their daughter. So they're showing some support, and the idea just permeating the whole thing with all this legal. There's all this legal red tape, so no one involved with the tapes knows what to say to the other person. Like they're not supposed to talk to each other. If so, they have to be really dodgy about what they say. So that's
right. I can see that. Yeah.
And that was kind of my way around, like, not knowing exactly where season 2 is going. It makes sense to me that, again, like, you're being instructed not to communicate with certain people. So there's a lot of things that are unsaid here and there. Which I thought added some powers to the scene in certain respects. So, let's see. So, again, and again, like, the idea is, too, is that, Andy's very pleased to see Tony. Again, because, Tony gave him the tapes.
Sure.
And at the same time, this is the first real interaction Andy's had with Clay. Bear in mind, this is after he's heard the recordings. He knows all about Clay, but he's never met the guy. And we're going to get more of a payoff for this later, but we're setting the seeds in the scene right here. He knows what Clay and Hannah had, but it's just really hard to express it, especially all this legal red tape going on here. He's not sure what he can say. Bear in mind, the boy's mother is like the opposing
exactly. That's kind of awkward. Yeah,
it's a complicated thing. I wanted to really kind of stress that again. There's things these two guys want to say to each other, but they just can't.
I hear you.
Andy makes a joke, and just the very self-effacing Andy's kind of making a joke about, we're kind of bustling with the holiday season right now. It's a very it's very unpopulated drugstore, as it usually is. And the idea here I wanted to kind of get across is that we get to see through Andy that this is where Hannah got her somewhat sardonic sense of humor. She got her humor from her father.
Okay, I like that.
You got the humor from the father. You got the looks and kind of the underlying optimism from the mother, possibly. I don't know. So. Now, he notices Clay eyeing, this one's a personal one for me, but I found a way to work it in here. It's kind of brilliant. I'm proud of this one. So, Andy notices that Clay is eyeing an item in the pharmacy here. He's in the drugstore. For me, it plays like as a CVS meets a drug city. That's kind of what I was going with here, because at CVS I've seen these items. So I kind of figured, it's not that much of a stretch. You could get these in here. Okay. They've actually I actually have one of these too. They've made these reproductions of the Charlie Brown Christmas tree you can actually display in the house.
Oh man!
It's like a 12-inch it's a fake little. They have like a little blanket, little bulb, and they released these to commemorate the anniversary for it, and then they've had it for years afterwards. So I figured the idea here is that what Andy kind of said, he kind of notices Clay's trying to make some small talk without talking about Hannah. He's saying, "Oh yeah, those. Yeah, we got those are left over from last year. We got a whole bunch of them." The idea is Andy thought they were going to be a huge seller, and they really didn't move that much. But again, it's kind of a little bit of a real world detail in there. They're just going to come back in a nice way, meaningful way. So let's see. So leftover from last year's stock, the whole lot. Tony's offering again. Tony's doing most of the talking for he and Clay in the scene. Tony's offering to do anything. Like if there's anything we can do to help you, by all means, ask. Again, we're here to help you around the holidays. It's a trying time. Yada yada yada. Olivia. Andy mentions that Olivia, Hannah's mother, has been really. She's really bearing the brunt of the loss this year. She's really been kind of down this holiday season. And she's taking the day. She's not at the place because she needs time off. She can't be in the store all the time. Hannah's just kind of pop in. She's really off her game this holiday season. So she's taking the day off, and because of that, Andy's working alone. So we ask a favor. So Tony offering. Well, the boys, actually, there's something you could do for me. He asked the boys, and this to me I thought was a nice bit here, where he asked the boys if they can go over to Walplex. Walplex, let's just say it's an executive Walmart.
Okay.
And basically, let's say it's a Walmart that actually had everything instead of saying they had everything.
All right.
Yeah, with a pharmacy that essentially could basically, let's say their building is like built into the Walplex. That's kind of how big the Walplex. It's like a big it's an outlet place. I'm not saying it's a mall, but it's like a 1-floor mall almost.
Right.
So anyway, so we asked the boys to go over to Walplex to basically take this checklist of items. So basically, go over there, see if they like a list of prescriptions, over the counter, less prescription, more over the counter stuff, like an average over the counter stuff, like any certain items, because he's trying to find out like what are we doing wrong, what can we get that's gonna get people from the Walplex over here, trying to compete with them essentially. Mm-hmm. And he can't. Again, he needs to hold down the fort, and also it's a bit of a pride thing because I just can't step foot in that place, guys. I just can't. It's kind of it's a humble favor. It's very humble.
Right. I like it.
I wanted some sadness with Andy that you feel bad for this guy, and he has like a small business that's going to be trounced by Walplex, but he's kind of deluded enough to think there's a chance that might not happen. Mm-hmm. And based on that, they just got to go over and just kind of like have a little checklist saying, okay, they have that, which means he will order those items they check off essentially. That's the gist of the list.
Gotcha.
He needs, right. Clay says it's no problem. So Clay's kind of getting a little bit in there. He says, there's no problem. We'll get right on it. They exchange kind of a telling glance of like, there's more they want to say, and then they're off. Let's see. So then we're at the Walplex. Again, the executive Walmart, if you will. Clay and Tony, they're going around, looking at items on the list together, kind of striking up some conversation. We have like kind of the music on the speakers that's playing. It's the most wonderful time. I kind of wanted to make some just painful song choices for this show.
God.
The happiest Christmas songs.
I like that.
The happiest and the most somber Christmas songs. That's kind of what I wanted to do. There's not a whole lot after that. I just kind of worked in those two. That's mainly it. But let's just say, if any music's in this special, it would be music like that, like super happy and just so offbeat from what the show is. Mm. So Clay and Tony, they're kind of chatting about the bakers, kind of just after being in there. Basically, saying to each other, "Oh yeah, it's the first Christmas without Hannah. It's it's really taking a lot out of them." And Tony's voicing to Clay that basically voicing Clay's journey of moving forward from his loss. Basically saying what Clay should do through the bakers. That's kind of a double meaning conversation he's having. He's trying to kind of shake Clay out of his apathy in a helpful way,
right?
Very casually. Now there's a tense bit that's going to come back. So Clay, again, it's a Walplex. So basically, it's like in town. It's like kind of your average Walmart where you're bound to run into some people here and there. Okay. So Clay catches eyes with Tyler.
Oh God. Okay. So wait. So Tyler's free and everything? Like, are we addressing the ending at all?
Well, by my logic, I'm going to say in January, that's when Tyler's going to go forward with this stuff. I'm saying this is between the season. I say season 2 is when we're going to have, him going off.
All right.
Again, we don't know how immediate that was, the most likely school shooting was going to go. We don't know how fast it's. Again, he's got to build up courage and build up his supplies and everything. He's getting ready for it. So I just figured we take the holiday. Again, the minute he's back in the school, I figured that's when it happens. Like right now, they're on break.
I suppose.
Anyway, so Clay catches eyes with Tyler. He's buying markers, paper, a folder, and a calendar.
That doesn't sound suspicious at all.
It doesn't, does it?
No, not at all.
Exactly. So there's obviously some discomfort in the air, and it's kind of having that realization of, oh boy, like the people from those tapes, it's gonna be really strange going to places after all the hoopla with the tapes.
Of course.
Tony warns Clay of this. Warns him again how the landscape's going to be radically changing, and especially come next year, things are going to be very different. It's going to be things are going to be almost unrecognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they checked the last item. Like, okay, there's they have this, so we should don't get that. Now, and as Tony's walking out, Clay lingers for a moment, and he's around the electronics aisle. He says, "You know what? Hold up. I got one thing I need to grab while I'm here. I'll be right back." And then we reveal, again, just kind of running the people here. We reveal that Mr. Porter has been watching Clay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Almost done Act 1 here, almost. So we got.
All right, no problem.
Okay, so we return to the drugstore. He gives them the list. He thanks them. This is almost like stuff that's going on in the background while we're kind of focused on Clay, by the way. It's like he says, "Oh, thank you for this," and he gives them candy canes. So a nice little seasonal gesture.
Don't you mean upside down J's?
Or do I mean upside down J's?
Or wait, is that what is it? Is it shit? I'm getting that wrong. Come on. Peppermint J's. Peppermint J's. Thank you. I'm terribly sorry.
Anyway, I don't mean peppermint J's. I mean, if I knew the detail about
right,
had I known the Jewish thing, I might have stressed the peppermint J's. Again, helpful information. But thankfully, I didn't really. Well, no, I do actually stress that they celebrate Christmas. Darn it! But
Womp,
anyway, so just go with me, folks. On like the thing, even if they are just, let's say they celebrate Christmas, just for the heck of it. All right.
It's not that out of the ordinary for Jewish people to celebrate Christmas. It's really not.
No, I'm just saying for this. Again, I don't know all the anyway.
Yeah.
So they gives him some candy canes, like almost like a pat on the head type gesture, like, oh, thank you, boys. Wishes him a Merry Christmas, and then again, like a lingering shot that gets us to our flashback, which will end out Act 1. We're going to get into the first part of the flashback. That's the end of Act 1. Clay's focusing on the Charlie Brown tree, like on the way I was kind of glancing at it again, and then we flash back to early with these flashbacks, just in terms of what the setting is for all this. Again, it's going to go very linearly with just the setting of all this past stuff. This is early into this stuff I racked my brain over, by the way, so I had to go a little fast and loose with it because there's no clear answers on this. This is early in Clay and Hannah's history. This is December of 2016. Based on the fact that in the first season we had the whole Dollar Valentines implying that February happened in the first season, so in that and we had a winter dance. Based on that, I'm saying like, okay, we could have had a past Christmas, and the idea Hannah was there. She's been at the Crestmont for like 2 months before Clay was there. So that's I'm playing fast and loose with it. So the point is they're both at the Crestmont. It's before the Dollar Valentine stuff onward in the Hannah story. Ideally, it's also before Alex puts the list out. But again, however it works, it would be preferred if it was. Honestly, it's before the moment when Bryce gropes. That's the one moment I'm trying to avoid in this.
Okay.
So ideally before that moment.
Okay.
That's just kind of where my setting is here. So again, they're at the Crestmont, so early in their stuff. So they're at the Crestmont. The idea is the theater has like a throwback day going on. They're like a throwback day for like the week before Christmas. So they're airing in the theater. They have Christmas classics playing, and they also they have Christmas classics playing in the movies. So Clay and Hannah, they're chatting about traditions, like how are you going to spend your holiday season, that sort of thing. Hannah's like, her mom's going to bake cookies and her father's going to cut down a tree. And the idea is like, it's kind of like a 3-person job here. The mother kind of bakes the treats. The father cuts down with his own bare hands the tree, and Hannah decorates the tree because she was kind of like creative that way. She likes decorating.
Mm-hmm.
And Clay on the other hand, of course, he's very, very simplistic. He says, I'm looking forward to Charlie Brown Christmas.
Of course he is.
But again, all seriously, I figure Clay's a guy of simple taste, and again, the all-American in many respects.
Oh God! Right.
Charlie Brown Christmas, it's an institution. So and Hannah mocks him for this, but I wanted to call it on a little bit. So Hannah mocks him in her usual way, kind of like that, kind of like sarcastic, but again, she's not being mean to him, just like taking some shots at him, like all hair, like the helmet and then the bicycle, like all the nicknames she had for him, all that stuff. She mocks him in her usual way, saying, and it's kind of combating him unnecessarily, saying the Grinch is far better.
I mean, I do think the Grinch is better, not far better, but
and I'm just saying she's making a point, like she likes the Grinch, just kind of beating him down on what he likes. All right. And in terms of the choices, it's Grinch is kind of the cynical choice, and
of course, right.
It's the cynical choice versus the classic choice, and there's a message in this where they go is that the Grinch is cynical with an underlying current of hope, which of course very much fits with Hannah. And with Charlie Brown, you have it's very realistic as to like what a Christmas could be, but it has a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what Sonny Clay hopes for. So that's just kind of where their tastes are dawning from here. They also have a bit in the conversation, and this is kind of getting us to the end here. There's a bit in the conversation where I want to say Hannah makes this line just to make it better, I guess. I think Hannah is saying, you ever notice that more people, like with all the movies that are playing, more people are going to Elf and Home Alone than Miracle on 34th Street, It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
I fear this might be hitting it on the head, but I fear I keep in there just a little bit the fact that Hannah, It's a Wonderful Life, and of course the connotations of It's a Wonderful Life. There's a little bit in there.
I see it.
So the idea, at least she's mentioning it, kind of just very lightly it comes back, I guess. So again, then we just, off of her saying that line, It's a Wonderful Life, we have a soft linger on Hannah as we basically transition to Act 2, and then I'll stop it there. So that will transition this into Act 2. So go on.
Okay, Act 2 for me, we're just continuing on with the days. So we have day 6. Oh, God, we have really mean Steve Dragon. Marcus Cooley himself.
After this really mean Steve. Go on.
All right, so Marcus discovers Justin in said tunnel. Of course, he's been released from the hospital because this is about, Justin was in the hospital on day 1, and this is now day 6. So Justin's recovered, but he still has nowhere to go. And I guess just the moral of the thing with Justin and the homeless guy was just, the homeless guy was willing to settle his differences with Justin, get him help, So Justin's just kind of, he's not in his tunnel or anything. He's just kind of just hanging out at the park, sort of just, being a nomad. And Marcus is at first very charitable. He basically, he takes Justin to, I forget the name of that diner, but, the kind of the Mel's Drive-In sort of diner that they sometimes go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes him there, gets him some food, like, oh man, you look awful, you need some food, Justin. Jesus, how long have you been living on the street, right? And unfortunately, because there is still an air of paranoia in the air, Marcus leaves Justin after a couple people walk by, and of course Marcus is still, vying his politics and everything, and so he just abandons Justin at the restaurant and just kind of goes on his way. And as he's going on his way, he goes to the gym with Mr. Porter to help set up for the dance. We're getting the dance set up and everything. Marcus is just doing his, his usual, like, all right, I'm going to be a good Samaritan. But, like, basically Courtney is out for the social, she's selfish on a social level, and Marcus is kind of selfish on a political level. Like, Courtney does what she does in the name of social, in the name of being social, and Marcus does what he does in the name of politics. So that's why he's there. He's, he's kind of making face. He's kind of there helping set up. And, of course, Tony's there. Tony is actually helping make the playlist for the dance. And that's Tony's opportunity to give Marcus his stocking stuffer. And this is a very brief memory, but Marcus, Hannah remembers seeing Marcus working in a soup kitchen over the holidays. A soup kitchen, of course. You know what a soup kitchen is, right? Where homeless people go to.
Yes, TK, I know what a soup kitchen is.
Okay, just check it. So sorry. Okay, so Hannah's kind of noting, she's kind of making a note in her writing, like, well, Marcus, it's very obvious that you were only there to boost your political standing, and I'm also guessing that the community service assignment we had was something to do with why you were there. But Marcus, I just want you to know, at the end of the day, you are a scumbag, Marcus, but you have a good personality. You have a good personality. You have a magnetic personality. You have a personality that puts smiles on people's faces. And when I saw the homeless people in that room that night, Justin, their smiles lit up. This might not have been just the highlight of their holiday season. It might have been the highlight of their whole year. And Marcus, you might not have been aware of this. You might have just been there to save face, but I could really tell that you were making a difference with those people, even if you're too up your own ass in terms of your ego to realize the good that you're capable of doing. All right, so we're finally entering Clay Dragon.
Oh, finally. Oh, for crying out loud. Come on, man. Tell me.
Okay. So Clay...
Be my Minetti, man. Come on.
He's very rushed with his Christmas shopping, of course. I mean, granted, this is still a couple weeks out from Christmas, but the problem is he's at the department store and he can't find anything on his list, right? Like, he's in that conundrum where he's still got some time to technically buy his presents, but everything that he wants to get people is seemingly sold out. But then Zach desperately wants to know what's up because Zach holds up an envelope, and basically every time Tony gives them the notes, it's in an envelope, and Zach's like, Tony gave me this, Clay. What's going on? What's happening? Zach's very worried. And Clay helps Zach. They kind of go over, it. First, Zach is sort of, he's very sort of agitated with Clay. He's very much like, look, you're the nice guy in all this. I'm sure this is just more bad shit that Hannah's putting on us. And Zach, it's just not fair. And Zach gets so frustrated, right, that he throws his backpack at Clay. He tosses his backpack at Clay, and his backpack falls. And then Zach realizes, to his horror, that in his backpack, underneath his history books, was an art project that Zach's little sister made for him for Christmas. And that art project is broken. And, of course, Clay Jensen, being the nice guy he is, offers to help Zach repair the art project. Because Clay's just a good guy like that.
Yes, he is. He is.
So that's kind of the day, they're bonding. And basically what I'm kind of setting up is I'd like to see Clay and Zach sort of form an alliance in Season 2. I really would, because Zach, to me, is almost as sympathetic as Clay is as a character. When it comes to, he's practically innocent in my mind when it comes to the, actually driving Hannah towards suicide. I mean, he did what he did, but it is, and even Hannah addresses that, to a lot of people, it might have not seemed like a big deal. And she was just kind of, she was kind of blowing it out of proportion in her head, but it still led to stuff.
Well, either or, it seems like that might happen with that little phone tease at the end of the season, that he'll be in Clay's shoes in Season 2.
Sure. So, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. So basically, the flashback is Zach is playing a charity basketball game at the dance. Now, I mean, it's like it's a basketball game followed by a dance. It's like a big charity thing. And Zach is very beside himself after the game because he lost the winning point. He lost the winning shot. He made the winning shot and he lost it. And so the team lost the game because of it. Now, this is important, Dragon. This is important. Hannah notes the sheer vulnerability in the fact that Zach's ego wasn't crushed. His spirit was crushed because he could have done more for the charity. And the charity is a school lunch program for families on the poverty level. Zach kind of talks to Hannah about, like, yeah, I'm a popular guy, but my family, we're very much, like my little sister has to go to school with like a Nutter Butter in her backpack for lunch. You know what I mean? Like, we're not well off. And I don't know if that was exactly established, but I'm just going to...
I got to tell you, he had a really nice car in That was kind of the point of that one episode. I think they might be well off.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, they're not well off anymore. It's a year later and something happened.
All right. Stock market crash, by all means, go on.
Exactly. You realize that I did not put as much thought into the plot holes as you did, Dragon. Obviously. So I don't know. I just like the idea that, like Zach's, like we would think that Zach is just feeling sorry for himself, like, oh, I suck, I lost the game. But no, it's the charity that he feels bad about. He feels bad about being the focal point of this charity event and then blowing it. And it's almost kind of like an Oster Schindler, like I could have saved a few more, like if I would have won that game, Hannah, we could have raised even more money for those kids. Think of the kids.
I think you mean think of the children, but okay.
And of course, this is very much within Zach's character because Zach is very, very close with his little sister. So, all right. Day 8. Now, day 8 and day 9 kind of overlap with each other a little bit because they're both sort of day in the lives of, but we see two different perspectives on the show's two main gay characters. So day 8 is Ryan, and then day 9 is going to be Tony.
Okay.
And let's just kind of say that day 8 and day 9 are kind of happening concurrently with each other, right? Like they're edited where it's Tony's day and it's Ryan's day. And so basically the big difference is how their family accepts them for who they are. Ryan's family is very bigoted, very homophobic. They're a very white bread sort of, like raised like super Christian, you know what I mean? So they are very out on it. They're like there's Bible verses all over their house. This is like a glimpse. And
very neo-religious.
Right, and this is something I kind of feel like we need for Ryan because I feel like Ryan is probably the most fringe character on the show. The only reason I included him in here and not Sherry was because of the contrast I could make with him and Tony. But yeah, so basically Ryan, we just see the day in the life of Ryan as he's, we hear like at a family dinner, like them just kind of talking about like the, I don't know, we might drop the F word in there a little bit, Dragon, just for the sake of shock value, we might drop the F word into the conversation. And with the F word, I don't mean fuck. Yeah. Okay. So
basically, it sounds like fig, but there's a letter off.
Yeah. Exactly. So like really harsh, just to emphasize, like Zach. Ryan is just not in a healthy environment. So the flashback is actually kind of something that's going to connect towards the end of the episode. It's Ryan is helping Hannah with a Christmas poem assignment because, of course, this is something that Hannah's going to struggle with because of her culture. And Ryan suggests the 8 days of Hanukkah as like kind of a play on the 12 days of Christmas, right? Like, yeah. Well, like there's 12 days of Christmas, so why don't you do the 8 days of Hanukkah? And then, Hanukkah. And Dragon, I'm really proud of this moment, all right? I'm really proud of this moment. So basically, we see a close-up of Ryan's face as he's listening to the message, and Hannah sincerely thanks Ryan for the poem and sincerely thanks him for helping her with it. And Dragon, this is important. We hear Hannah say, Ryan, I have a very important role for the poem that's going to make someone really happy. And we don't know what it is, but we see Ryan's reaction to it, and he starts to cry and he smiles. He's just like really moved by what Hannah plans to do with said poem. All right. So day 9, Dragon. Again, my acts are probably quicker than yours. Well, I don't know. Hold on. Maybe I can. Yeah, I'll end it day 10. Okay. And then Act 3 is probably going to be shorter than the other acts. But so day 9, basically Tony's overwhelmed by the controversy that's been brought up with the stocking stuffers thing. Like he basically like he doesn't want to do it, right? Like, and we do see a flashback of the tapes, and we see him finding these stocking stuffers, like these envelopes. It's basically like a Ziploc baggie full of envelopes addressed to different people, and on Sharpie with the Ziploc baggie says, "Don't open till Christmas." And then we kind of see a note from Hannah, like, basically kind of laying out, like, Tony, like, this is, like, basically kind of laying out like I said, the context for why Hannah's sending these notes right now. Like, we don't get much, but basically it's like it's for closure, And so Tony's just very much feeling the pressure, and that's something, again, a lot of this stuff is almost kind of like a pilot for season 2, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't make sense, but it's kind of like all the fundamentals of what I want to see in season 2. And I definitely want more exploration on Tony. I definitely want to see how Tony's role in this affected him on a personal level. So basically the big gist of Tony's thing is two events. One, he reads Clay's note and he starts to panic. We don't know what Clay's note is yet, but he knows, like, oh my God, this is bad. Like,
okay, so Tony reads Clay's note.
Yeah, like he's been delivering all the notes up until this point, and then he gets to Clay's, and with the others he hasn't opened them, but with Clay, of course, because he's a good friend, he gets curious, and he's like, all right, and he's like, oh, this is not good. This is not good.
Bum, bum, bum.
And then he finds a tape, Dragon. He finds another tape in the Don't Open Until Xmas. In the Don't Open Until Xmas baggie, and the tape is addressed to Tony. Like, the tape just has Tony on it. And we see a family dinner that's basically kind of in opposition of Ryan's, where Tony's father and Tony's grandparents are very accepting and welcoming of Tony. Tony and his boyfriend are there. They're trading pleasantries. It's just a nice kind of, like, offbeat family, contrasted to Ryan's, like, uber Christian family. So we see that Tony's got a much better home life than Ryan does. Okay, and then the flashback we get is Hannah's voice. It's Hannah recording a tape. Hold on, let me just all right. So she says, and I like this line. She says, Tony, I remember when you came out of the closet during the Christmas dance last year. And you didn't come out of the closet, Tony. You came bursting out of it, Kool-Aid Man style.
Yeah,
I like that line.
I like that too. That's good.
So basically what happened is Tony was with a date, a girl at the dance, and Ryan Shaver is announcing him as the Winter King, the Winter King and the Winter Queen. And instead of kissing Tony's girl, Tony just goes in for a big French kiss with Ryan to kind of, like, as a big coming out, like, right in front of everyone, like, I'm here. Like, and she says, Hannah's like, Tony, I really admire your spirit. I admire the unapologetic nature of who he is. And I'm sorry that you couldn't have saved me, but I really hope that you can inspire others who might be in the same position. All right, day 10. Tony's very reluctant to give Clay his note, but Clay approaches Tony. He's like, hey, I heard about Zach's note, Tony. What's up? Do you have a note? And of course, Tony's just very, very, very apprehensive about this. He's like, look, Clay, you don't want to read it, Clay. Trust me, you don't want to read it. The two of them have a big blowout, right? Clay almost starts shoving Tony because it's just like, Tony, I need to know what you said about me. And so finally, he throws him the note in frustration. Tony and Clay is shaking, but here's basically the thing. So the roles are reversed here, Dragon. The roles are reversed. While everyone is getting positive stuff, and okay, basically in the first season, everyone was getting negative stuff except for Clay, who kind of got the positive tape.
Yeah.
Here it's kind of the other way around. Here Hannah's kind of turning the tables on him and being like, look, Helmet, you know how I feel about you, but you messed up in certain parts. And so basically, Dragon, you lifted my idea right off of me. They were having a marathon of classic Christmas movies at the Crestmont. So good job on that.
Again, folks, we did not disclose that to each other, right? Nope. That's just happenstance.
Basically, Hannah is, she's kind of just moping about the fact that there's no Hanukkah movies, there's only Christmas movies. And Clay, he's really annoyed. You could tell he's having a bad day. He's having scraped the gum, and he's like, okay, listen, Hannah, you've been moping around school for over a week with the whole, like, oh, I'm Jewish, feel sorry for me thing. You're a walking cliche, Hannah. Why don't you just, and I know that this is Clay being harsh, but you know how Clay can get where, if Hannah's playing mind games with him, or if he thinks that Hannah's just being unreasonable, like, he'll tell her off, you know what I mean? But
Right.
This is just really cruel, and this is digging into her culture in a way that he's not even realizing what he's doing. So basically Hannah says that ultimately what happened with her was ultimately her fault. What happened, the fact that they couldn't be together, but it's moments like this that made her realize, as good as Clay was, she could never truly be with him, because Clay was a kind-hearted soul, but he didn't know social grace if it hit him in the face. So that's kind of a hard lesson for Clay to learn, right? Like, he's just sort of like slapped back a little.
Wait, what did Clay say? You didn't finish what Clay said.
Well, that's what I said. Basically, the whole, like, you're a walking holiday cliche.
Oh, okay. I thought you were building to okay, that's fine.
No, that was the big sort of like, come on, Hannah, you've been moping around about this Jewish thing. Get over it, Hannah. You're not the only Jewish dude in school. The world doesn't revolve around you, Hannah. So basically, like Clay's done. We've seen this before in the series, right? Where he's gone off at Hannah at inappropriate times where he might not even realize what he's doing.
Right.
And so that's basically it. That's basically the end of the act. We see Clay kind of devastated, sort of mulling things over, like, oh my God, what a jerk was I. All right. Act 2, Dragon, go for it.
Okay, Act 2. Let's see. So we're at the. I might have to revise this because I kind of either Monet's or the diner. I think it's supposed to be the diner because it's wherever Sky works, wherever the girl,
she works at Monet's.
She works at Monet's. Okay, even better. So we're at Monet's. It works in the original. Okay, yay for me. So we're at Monet's where Sky works. She gives him drinks on the house, and this is a way of like kind of a soft kind of like connect, basically a soft little tease at season 2 that she's showing appreciation for Clay taking an interest in her, which of course there might be a relationship brewing with her, with him and Sky going forward. The point is at the very least she's going to be a friend, maybe in the main cast going forward. She might be.
Okay.
Yeah, based on the fact she had some wrist scars, and then Clay noticed this.
Sure.
And, so basically, out of gratitude for that, at the very least, out of gratitude for that, she drinks are on her happy holidays, etc., etc. Tony points this out because again he's pointed this out before. She likes you, right?
right.
And Clay basically saying, "Hey, Clay, you should be proud of yourself." And that's her. Again, rough draft, folks. A lot is just going to be on the nose of the dialogue. Sure. Warning, especially when we get the actor. Actor is on my real hard talking, so it's going to be really on the nose.
Okay.
But Tony here he's pointing this out. Again, showing appreciation for what you did for Clay. Clay's a little somber and basically just kind of brushing off. Well, she needed someone. It's not necessarily was that how I felt or anything. Just, she needed someone, and basically really all gloom and doom that we weren't there for Hannah. We got to be there for other people like Hannah. Tony tries to alleviate the guilt that Clay has. Basically, the guilt that, again, it's like a thing he can never have with Hannah because he was just blind to see it in the moment. A lot of guilt over that. So he's kind of trying to relieve some of Clay's guilt by saying, "Look, Clay, you made a choice." Because a big moment of last season was that there's a beautiful bit where Tony, of course, he gives the flash drive to the parents, and the only reason he did that, because that wasn't in Hannah's wishes. The only reason he did that was because Clay convinced him to. Clay essentially told him. Clay essentially told him, like, no, we're not going to do this for Hannah, not because she asked us. We're not going to do what Hannah says. We're going to do something for Hannah. That's essentially kind of the sell line that he told Tony that got him to do the right thing.
Right.
And I think, some time has passed, like a month and change has passed, and I think Tony's really taking that to heart and really appreciating where Clay, what Clay did for him in that moment. So he's basically, congratulating him for that here. We're saying, look, Clay, you made a choice. You set me straight. We did this for Hannah, not because of, those were her wishes. I mean, the way I way we handled the tapes was all wrong. It was all wrong the way we drew it out. We all drawn out. We should have basically done your plan from the beginning. I shouldn't have been all cryptic with you and everything. And basically, Tony's saying, "Look, I take my blame. I take my blame in that for as far as I'm concerned, you were right. We brought her parents closure. I mean, that end point there that made it all worthwhile. Just what we did, the decisions we made, were the right choices, and you ushered me towards that. We're righting wrongs we righted wrongs by doing that. We're on the path of righting wrongs for the whole Bryce thing, essentially, without not so many words. Clay agrees. Clay agrees. Also, by the way, in the scene, though, Ryan's in this scene too. He's typing, so I should say it's like very much kind of a Starbucksian environment. Just even guy typing on his computer, he's writing stuff. But the reason I bring it up is because he's also our transition here. So basically, Ryan he's typing, and then that transitions us to a flashback. Yeah, Clay's just kind of agreeing with Tony. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And he's kind of distracted by the typing because Clay's a very distracted guy here and there. Mm-hmm. We kind of focus on Ryan typing, and we flash back to Ryan typing in the classroom. And we're in class. In any class, I'm going to say maybe a social studies class, a sociology class of some kind. Basically, kind of interactions would be a focal point. Whichever class would do that. Like, not everyone on the tapes is in this class, but let's just say half, if not less than half, are in this class. Mm. So we see Hannah. Hannah's like the first thing we see. Importantly, so again, we have the typing. We see Hannah, then we see then we see Ryan typing. Then we see some familiar faces. Importantly, the people who really don't have a big role in this, we just cameo in this scene essentially. So, we have Alex, we have Ryan, we have Sherry. Again, Sherry. Essentially, Sherry, she turned herself in, so really I have no idea what to do with Sherry. So, okay, there's Sherry. Sherry, Courtney, and lastly, Bryce. So, again, like, some people in this scene do have roles to play, but, it's half and half. So, Courtney, and lastly, most impactfully, we start with Hannah and we end on Bryce. Again, it's kind of... Bryce is not going to be in the present story, but he's in the past, and he does something kind of mean.
Ooh. Kind of mean. That's an understatement for Bryce Walker.
Well, I mean,
Bryce Walker, he does something kind of mean.
Well, I'm just saying, in this case, he's something kind of mean.
Right.
So let's see. So in class, essentially, as a project, everyone's they're kind of forcing a Secret Santa exchange as some sort of like sociology lesson of some kind. Mm-hmm. And it's for a holiday project before break. Kind of a fun thing, like, hey, get gifts for each other. That's your big assignment. It's basically like easy points on the grade. It's like, yeah, it'd be fun. And basically, they draw names from a Santa hat. And here's the important of who got who. It's the ones that are plot relevant. I didn't figure out every single one. I hate figuring out gifts, by the way. And so you know what, I have to figure out like Secret Santas. I dread it because I hate figuring out gifts. Let's see. Clay got Tyler. Tony got Courtney. Hannah got Bryce.
Oh God.
And Bryce got Clay.
Oh God. Okay. It's like the Joker drawing Batman.
Essentially, yes. So importantly, and this is going to be a little thing to focus on here. Hannah is you can see on Hannah's face she's disappointed that she did not get Clay, because this it would have been almost like a Hey Arnold type situation. It would have been the perfect
right.
It would have been the perfect no risk gift to the boy that she likes. That essentially would have been like the perfect, like, hey, I got you a gift not because I like you or anything, but because I was forced to. Do you like it? That sort of thing.
Right.
Okay, so out of the past, it's the next morning. So it's the next morning. The idea is like after the Act 1. We had the flashback, then Clay got dropped off his house, and now it's this is the second day, so everything else happens on the second day. So it's like, I want to say maybe like the previous day was the 23rd. I want to say Christmas Eve. I believe I laid it out that way. We'll see. Yeah, I think I cover 23rd, 24th, and I end on the 25th. I think that's how it goes. Okay. So anyway, so now it's day 2, whatever. So let's see. So it's after the. Oh yes, it's next morning. So it's the next morning. Clay's father's wishing him a happy holiday. Hey, happy holiday. Being a pleasant guy. Things are very tense between Clay and his mother right now because again, there's a lot of red tape she can't really get into. So things are distant. The father's just kind of like the poor guy caught in the middle. Here's this. So, what we got planned today? Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clay's parents are likable, and it's that sort of thing, though, when the mother's just caught in the worst possible position where she has to defend the bad guys.
Right, right.
Anyway, so just because of that, things have been tense, making not for the best holiday season. But again, they're gonna, try. They're not gonna let dampen their holiday necessarily, but it's obviously not gonna be the warm and fuzzy Christmas it usually is.
Mm.
We see Clay. He's basically this is kind of a meta transition. That's might be a little on the nose, but it's just kind of fun. Clay's looking for Christmas movies on Netflix.
Oh God. Oh man.
Looking for Christmas movies on Netflix. The folks mentioned that they're going to, and this to me is kind of a personal thing too. I got like two personal things with the Drive on Christmas Tree, and I got this. Basically, the parents are going to Hallmark for the ornaments.
Okay.
I need an excuse for the parents to get out of the house, and I figured, okay, they're picking up ornaments at Hallmark, so it's kind of localized. I don't know. That was nice. So they're going. Basically, they're out of the house for it. So we'll be back in a few hours. So I'll see you then. Anyway, then we have a flashback to. We flash back to the. Sorry. Yes. Okay, I got it. Sorry. Okay. So we flash back to the Wallplex again. We're inside the Wallplex. We're never inside the Wallplex, by the way. So I was kind of proud of working in the Wallplex because we always mentioned it. We never entered it.
Mm.
So Clay's at the Wallplex, and he's looking at cameras and photography stuff because you got Tyler. They're looking for that sort of stuff for Tyler. He has no idea what to get. So he's kind of in the electronics section again. Again, we were in the electronics section earlier. We're in the electronics section now. A little bit of foreshadow, a little bit of connective tissue there. Yeah. So he's looking for stuff for Tyler. Next to it is the movie section, much like your average Walmart. Next to the electronics, you got the movies. So he's kind of perusing the movie section. He sees classic movie. I was kind of tossing between specials and movies. I went with specials in the end just for this section. He sees like a class, like one of those multiple like 4 specials on like one DVD set type.
Right,
thing.
right.
So it has like Charlie Brown, The Grinch, Frosty the Snowman, maybe Rudolph, just to pat it out there. And and here's the thing, he grabs it and he's walking there with like whatever he got for Tyler, which we'll get there. He almost buys it, but he gets cold feet like as he's walking halfway there, and he's off halfway to the checkout counter. Nah, he's just not getting the social grace. He just doesn't want to take the leap of like, he wanted to do something nice for Hannah. Like they had their little Christmas moment in the beginning at the Crestmont. So you know what, I'll get her something. And he kind of got cold feet. Nah, it's going to be the same fears that Hannah had. Like, nah, it's going to be too much. It's going to be like, hey, why did you get me this gift? Nah, yeah, he's like kind of really kind of teen type stuff. Like, nah, it's going to be too big a leap. Just going to think I might be into her or something, which I am, but I can't say that.
Right.
So he puts it back, and that cold feet then is going to be important. We then, again, him putting it back transitions into the present. I'm just kind of proud of some of these transitions. Him putting that item back, we then transition to Andy stocking the shelves, like putting stuff on the shelves.
That's good. That's good.
He's putting the new stuff, again, from the list. Again, the boys helped out. So next day he's got some stuff, and he's stocking the shelves, and he's stocking them, and he's getting to the Charlie Brown trees.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'll admit, on going through it, a lot of flashbacks, but again, it's kind of a different guy having the flashbacks now. Andy has like a mini flashback. It's a very mini flashback.
Okay.
It was a cut. They had a lot of cuts in 13 Reasons Why, so I just figured, I take the liberty. So it's we see back to a much happier holiday at the Baker's Drug Store. It's all super decorated for Christmas time. Like right now, it's kind of like barely decorated for Christmas. As again, their minds are other places. It's before things are really bad, like there's any bad stuff going on, or before they had their worries about the Wallplex kind of tanking their business. Like right now, it's probably like you have more people coming in now and again.
Dragon, I'm going to turn my webcam off because I'm in a lot of pain and I need to lie down. All right.
Okay.
I can still do it. It's just kidney stones, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I keep going?
No, keep going. Yeah, let's get through this. I just need to lie down.
Okay, let's see, where was I at? I guess. Hannah. Okay, so Hannah's entering the scene here. She's looking very forward to the holidays. Again, it's a classic kind of happy family Christmas, which again, in retrospect, would have changed that. But again, Anna's looking forward to the holiday. She's asking if she can snag one of the Charlie Brown trees. I think you can see where this is going.
Oh God. Okay.
She's saying she can snag one of the Charlie Brown trees, and yeah, this is the year. This is like 2016 where he got all the Charlie Brown trees, thinking they were going to be the.
Oh man! All right. I like how that's tying back.
So yeah, we kind of flash back to like him just putting a few out to like when they were like he was really proud, like
just entice the masses.
Exactly.
This will be the best seller ever.
And this is like before the store opened. This is before like open for the day. Like it's like before opening time. So he's like basically saying, "Oh, no problem. Man. It's probably best that you get it now because it's going to sell quickly. So get it now while you can." Sure. Again, this poor Andy. I think Andy's just like that sympathetic guy. Like, oh, why can't things work?
He really is, man. He really is. He's kind of. I think in a lot of ways, Andy is the Charlie Brown of 13 Reasons Why.
In a way, I mean, like,
for very dark reasons, of course, but
in all seriousness, so again, I can't stress enough how the Bakers are really good characters in that show. They really are.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to work the Bakers in more than I did, but ultimately I went with this whole ensemble thing. So the Bakers are going to get worked in there.
I mean, honestly, just from the season, the reason I had to work him in here is because, again, the power of those scenes between Clay and Olivia, I just had to work it in there somehow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So let's see. So, she in the flashback, it's all rosy and everything. It's a little bit more brighter than kind of like the dimmed lighting in the present. So, it says, "Oh, no problem. I'll probably sell quick. So, get some now while you can." And then the flashback. This is how I kind of changed up the flashback here. It's interrupted by a phone call in the present.
Oh God! Okay.
You hear a phone ring, and then we just cut. And Andy's like he's kind of snapped out of his fond reflections, like, "Oh, I remember the good times with my daughter when she was alive."
Aww.
He's interrupted by a phone call, and this is very much it's a cross between a Charlie Brown and a Walter White moment for him, I guess. It's kind of he's interrupted by this call from
out of my territory. That's what he says to the Wallplex guys.
Oh no, I didn't go there. Okay. So he's interrupted by a call from his emotionally fragile Olivia. So the idea
God! And this is the first time we're seeing Olivia in this special, right?
Yeah. We're like, well, it's like a conversation we cut from him to her, like when she's talking on the phone. So we do get a look at her. Again, she's very emotionally fragile. She's home alone, and the idea she's been out. She's been trying to occupy herself. It just hasn't been working, so she went home, and she's asking him to come home early because, again, you feel so bad for this poor woman. She's really Andy's shouldering it the best he can. Olivia really she can't contain the sadness she's feeling. So, and like she's like within reach all around her are photos of Hannah. Her and Hannah are like the family and Hannah. So it's
God, all
this stuff within reach. You just can't bear to put it away. And we see, importantly, again, I stressed how the tradition was she makes the cookies, the father cuts down the tree, and Hannah decorates the tree. So it's like a half-hearted Christmas almost. The tree is up, but it's not decorated all because she just can't. Like the ornaments are up, but she couldn't decorate the tree because she's thinking of her daughter.
Right. Sure.
Andy says, and this is very kind of the Walter White kind of sad phone conversation type thing. Like, yes, I'll be right home. Basically, he'll be right home. It's like kind of like a wide shot. We see him alone in the store again. It's like he wouldn't be missing anything if he left, honestly. But anyway,
it's like right after he blew up Wallplex, and he's like, "I won."
Sure. If that helps, Tiki, sure. So no, but it's like he flips these sadly, he kind of walks, he closes the phone, and he walks up to the closed sign, he puts it on close, and he leaves, and you see an empty Baker's drugstore. And that's the end of Act 2.
Okie dokie. All right. Let me get into my Act 3 then. From my bed. All right. So let's
like Scrooge.
What?
Like Scrooge.
Yeah, exactly. It totally fits. It's not like kidney stones are literally killing me right now.
Christmas time is killing him.
Yep, pretty much. Okay. So, oh God. All right, let me see. Okay, so day 11. Day 11 is really short. Basically, it's a Porter-centric day.
Yes.
So Porter is he's working alongside Bryce, prepping him for the school dance. Yeah. He's working alongside Bryce.
Porter and Bryce. Bum, bum, bum.
Now, of course, Porter, he is like he's not letting it show, like he's being very professional about it, right? But it's obvious that he is uncomfortable around Bryce, especially after the tapes, obviously. And he's noticing, he's noticing a little bit of behavior. He's noticing like some of the way he's talking to the females, and just like, just a little bit of the advances and stuff. Like, like Mr. Porter, like he's getting on to Bryce. And then Mr. Porter comes into his office. He sees the stocking stuffer, if you will, on his desk, and he reads it. And this is sort of a sweet story, Dragon. Basically, I don't remember in the show. Do they mention that Hannah moved from one house to another house?
Well, I mean, I know they said she moved. I don't know if they meant like she kind of moved from place to place. But
no, what I mean is like she's a new kid in town, but she like in the book she has two houses. Like she's in one house for like a very short amount of time, and then she moves to another house.
I really don't think it was in the show, Tiki. But again,
okay, well that's in the book. That's in the book. So I just want to make that
sounds
clear.
More like a book thing.
Yeah. So in the book, so basically, so basically in between when they were moving, when they were moving from the old house to the new house where they currently are, there were a couple days where they were essentially homeless because the new house wasn't ready yet and the old house was already sold. So the Porters actually let them stay with them for a period of time, for a couple days. And of course, it was a clash of cultures and the turkey was burned to a crisp. But Hannah realized that Porter is someone that she could turn to for help if she needed it. Now, of course, the dark connotation with this, Dragon, is like,
nope.
Like Porter, like through this act, you basically became someone who I could look to. Like, I didn't want to bother you. I didn't want to go to you unless it was desperate, because I know you have a lot of stuff on your plate. I know you're juggling a lot. I know people give you crap about being both the English teacher and the guidance counselor. But you were my saving grace. You were my get out of jail free card in a lot of ways. Like, basically what Hannah's trying to say is that she had the idea of going to Porter for a long time in her back pocket based on this interaction she had with them when they were staying with them, of course. And of course, it's over the holidays, so. All right. So, Dragon, this next day is the most ridiculous day, all right? Day 12.
Okay.
So Bryce is in a ridiculously cheesy Christmas Story perfect family situation.
Oh, God.
So, he's got, like, they're all wearing, like, matching Christmas sweaters, and drinking eggnog. And actually, Bryce is proudly sporting an adult-sized version of the bunny suit from Christmas Story.
Oh, God. You put a rapist in a bunny suit.
Yes. So for about 5 minutes, we get this great sort of like dark, like, okay, like things are way too cheery at the Walker household. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Like this is like these people are too perfect for what this guy is. And then we get a dark moment, Dragon. We get a dark moment. We have Bryce confronting one of his cousins in the bathroom.
Oh,
and I want to make this clear. This is one of his cousins that is a cousin not by blood relation, but by marriage.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all right. Keep going.
Yes. Just to make that clear. And of course, but this also kind of adds a level of perversion to it too, because I mean, it'd just be like going after a stepsister or something. You know what I mean? It's like just because they're not blood related to you doesn't mean it's super wrong.
It's not right, Bill.
So yeah, Bryce, of course, he tries to move in on her, but not before Jessica, in a drunken stupor, barges into the house and makes a huge scene. Just blows everything the hell up. And the Walkers, they're chastising Jessica. They're like, who the hell are you to come in here on our Christmas day? And, well, it's not Christmas Day, but, they're basically the idea with the Walkers is that they're so into Christmas that, like, every day in December is like Christmas to them. They're always doing the traditions and whatnot. So they're chastising her. They're really chastising her. And, but then the police show up. And I forgot to mention this with Porter, Obviously the tape with or the letter from Hannah kind of makes Porter sort of realize that he needs to do the right thing and he needs to turn in that tape. And by turning in that tape, the next day, Bryce gets arrested. And of course, this is great, Dragon. Bryce gets arrested and handcuffed in the Christmas Story bunny suit. Yep.
Oh, God.
All right, so then the flashback we get with Hannah is basically Hannah's like really hating to admit it, but there's a moment where where Bryce kind of danced with her, like basically gave her a pity dance at the holiday dance, and it made her feel like she wasn't alone. Looking back on it after the events were put into context, like everything that Bryce was doing was obviously predatory and obviously just like, hey, I'm gonna make a move on you. You know what I mean? So Hannah, again, she's kind of pointing out, like, Bryce, you're a dangerous person because you're so good at that facade. Let me see. All right. And then, Dragon, we have a great sort of little sting at the end of this Bryce section.
What's the nice thing she said about Bryce?
It's not really a nice thing. It's basically like in the moment he made her feel a little happy with the dance, but looking back on it, it just makes her feel worse.
All right.
So, all right. Hold on, I'm trying to. Oh yeah, the little tease is that Bryce ends up in the same cell as Tyler. So it's like, oh boy. Okay, Dragon, let's get to the ending here. So basically, the ending is kind of tying all the storylines together. Clay actually discovers Justin in the park and brings him back to his house because the Jensens are charitable. And, even though Clay and Justin have been through a lot over the course of season 1, they're still very much kind of, like they get it. Like they get that they were both sort of swept up into this thing and the controversy and the drama surrounding it. So it's not like Justin's going to be staying with the Jensens full time, but at least Justin's got a place to stay for the next couple days or so. And so then Clay decides to pay a visit to Hannah's parents. And I want to say he just goes to their house because I just think that's more effective than going to the pharmacy.
All right.
And Hannah's parents are listening to another tape, the other tape besides Tony's, that was in the Don't Open Until Christmas bag. And this tape is of Hannah reading the 8 Days of Hanukkah poem that she wrote with Ryan. Now, the important thing about this is that she never actually published that poem. And she never, she kind of, basically, she was really shy about sharing her poetry with her parents. And so with this, Dragon, and this is why Ryan got so emotional, like, when Hannah was expressing in the letter what she was going to do with, with the poem, is what she's doing with the poem is basically giving their parents a gift. Like, the gift is the gift of hearing their daughter's voice for the last time, and not in this sort of context of, of the suicide tapes, but merely just the poem, something positive, something creative that she came up with. And that is the greatest gift of all. And Clay kind of makes his amends with Hannah's parents. He sort of relays the incident, and it's very somber. It's not like, I will admit that Andy and Olivia are a little bit thrown off by the whole, like, walking holiday cliche thing. Like, because Clay's very blunt. Clay's just like, guys, I'm so sorry. I called her a walking holiday cliche. I don't know what I was thinking. And, it's basically like there's no easy answers for it. It's like Andy and Olivia are a little bit put off by that, as they would be in real life. And so Clay's leaving with the feeling that while Hannah has given her parents something, and while everyone around them seems to be healing just a little bit, except for certain people like Bryce and Tyler, Clay still got a long way to go, and Clay feels more isolated than ever, even though he is probably morally still the best person in the show. because of his charity towards Justin and everything. So Clay just basically kind of walks down a snowy road, kind of Hulk style, and that's the end.
I like the Hulk thing. I like like walking down the snowy road. I really do like that.
It's very somber and thoughtful for an ending.
Yeah, it's good. I gotta tell you, I'm not.
It sucks, doesn't it?
No. It's just here's the thing. Here's the thing that kind of dawned on me when you kind of went through it on the third act is that the Clay's interactions with it might be because we have such polar opposite things on Clay and the Bakers. Maybe that's it, but it's I don't know. I don't think they'd really be like peeved or that thrown off by it. I don't know. I think Clay's thing against Hannah just feels really minimal because again she was in the wrong with that. I don't want to say she was purely in the wrong. It's that. In the wrong is the wrong choice of words, but it's it's like one of the things where Clay had a point. Clay had a very understandable point that again she's going around just kind of saying the same thing over and over again. He's calling her on it. That doesn't necessarily make him a bad guy on the tape, and then bringing this up to the parents. I don't know. It doesn't quite feel as compelling a thing to get us to that really cool ending of him, like a somber ending with Clay, despite all the good he does. Just kind of walking home in the snow. It's kind of bugging me.
I mean, I don't necessarily think Hannah's parents are peeved at Clay. There's just sort of like an unspoken kind of like, oh, so maybe in some way you did do something that hurt our daughter.
That's the thing. It doesn't really feel like it really hurt Hannah because, again, she just really kind of told her the truth that, again, hey, keep bringing this up, all right?
Well, like I said, it was bad timing. You know what I mean? That like the whole show is kind of founded on the idea that if you say something at the wrong time to the wrong person, it could have drastic consequences.
I guess.
So.
Okay. Let's see. Act 3 for me. Okay. There's a knock at the door. Knock at the door. Clay answers it. It's Mr. Porter.
Oh boy. Okay.
At his home. The idea here is Porter, ever since the events, again, this is vague on like if he turned in the tapes. Now, less than if he turned in the tapes, people are going to be looking for those tapes, and they know, Porter. There's a good chance Porter might have it. Because again, they'll go after the 13 people on the tapes, and again, if Clay doesn't have it, then Clay would probably tell him it's Porter. But even if he doesn't, again, Porter's on the tapes. Let's ask him. Either way, so I don't really know if Porter just has kept the tapes or not, but the point is he's obviously listened through the tapes and he's been really haunted by them. And the idea is, Porter, he basically I don't want to say he hasn't been quite stalking Clay, but I mean he's kind of ran into him he kind of didn't run into him, he kind of spotted him at the Wallplex, and kind of after that he's been stewing on things for a while. And just kind of came to his house when he knew the parents were gone, which is again is raw and is kind of creepy. I know that's kind of the point. He's kind of a broken man in this scene. Porter's just such a broken guy, and Clay was the only one giving him answers and really called him on his stuff. So he and Clay in this scene especially are very simpatico, and that's kind of like they both kind of help each other in their arcs a great deal. So it's really Porter and Clay's scene here because again, it's kind of stemming off one of my favorite scenes from the first season where you have Clay and Porter scene together in the 13th episode. So it's a little bit like that. It's kind of a healthy build from that scene in a way. So let's see. So again, he's a broken man. He's politely asking if he can come in. He's not like barging his way in there. He looks so broken. Clay, again, kind of the charitable Clay you're going for. He invites him in. He offers him water, tea, anything to drink.
I'm not even going to say anything.
All right. And
I'm in too much pain.
okay. So anyway, Porter shuts. Porter says no, thank you. And Porter's been torturing himself for a little over a month. Ever since the ending of his first season. He's been listening to the tapes. Point. It's essentially the point is it's like a fellow tape survivor reaching out to Clay, as we had with some other characters in the first season. Porter is now, while he is broken, he's still more enlightened. He's more enlightened because now he knows kind of what he did wrong. That's been haunting him, and he realized that they were, again, rough dialogue here, folks. It's very on the nose in this scene and another one coming up here, but. He says in dialogue somehow, he says he realized that you and we were both Hannah's last chance, and then kind of Clay interjects, and we both let her down.
Sure.
And as Clay in conversation, he somehow this would be edited like in kind of a little not as powerfully, but it would kind of work as the edited as like Clay and Porter having a conversation. We see a flashback unfold as certain portions of the conversation are said. So I'm gonna set it up and I'll just go through the flashback and just imagine this is interjected through their conversation. I'm gonna kind of sandwich it. So basically, the beginning of the conversation, flashback, and then the end of the conversation. All right. Let's see. He admits. Clay, in conversation here, essentially what Clay's saying is this is like kind of what's ushering Clay to his ultimate arc of the special here. He admits to he admits to all of the opportunities he had to be there for her, kind of like Porter had in that moment. Like all the moments he could have been there for Hannah. He got in his own way every time, and Clay's been haunted by that this special. So they're kind of like airing out their frustrations at themselves to each other. It kind of helps them become better people throughout that. Mm-hmm. And again, we flashback intercut with this sequence here. And here's the big flash I've been building to with all these other flashbacks. It's like, yeah, this is the last flashback. It's really straightforward going forward. So I'm just going to lay it all out here for you. So flashback is we have the gift exchange. The gift exchange is happening very casually in the hallway. It's like an honor system. Like they're not going to. The people again. It's a very lax assignment. Like, okay, if you said you exchange gifts, I'll buy it. Just exchange gifts, say how you feel about it, and that's the assignment. Mm-hmm. Clay got Tyler like a polish or like film for the camera, something like reasonably priced. Just it's not going to cost an arm and a leg because like $1,000 camera that Tyler had. So it's like a polish or like a film or something to help treat the cameras. Of course, the irony being, or like a memory chip for like film on digital or something, fueling Tyler's undoing. Of course, like he gave him the tools for the camera that he would use against Hannah.
Right, that makes sense.
Let's see. Tony got Courtney a gift basket. It's something very general. I didn't want to put a lot of thought into. Oh, what did he get Courtney?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't want to put a lot of thought into Courtney in general.
That's what I'm saying. Like, screw Courtney. Yeah, you got a very generic like a gift basket, like full of like lotions and bath powders and I don't know, like like candles and stuff. I don't care. So. And of course, the idea here, vaguely, it's the reason I picked these two for each other. Again, we have our positive gay character and our very negative one.
Right.
And like the best kind of version of a gay character in this show, and kind of the most negative interpretation of one. That's like they got stuck with each other.
That's Bryce, kind of what I was doing with Tony and Ryan, but I just wasn't. I mean, obviously, Ryan's way more tolerable than Courtney.
That's what I'm saying is Ryan he jumped the gun and he just could have. Didn't really consider Hannah's feelings. Courtney considered Hannah's feelings and stomped upon them.
Exactly.
So let's see. So Bryce, I had a little bit of a little levity in here. That Bryce got Clay a gift card. Essentially, for a rich guy, he gave him the cheapest gift. That's kind of the game. Just like Bryce, we know Bryce comes from money. He could have given him far better things. Gave him like a $20 gift card. Maybe 15 just to make it worse. I don't know.
God.
And here's the kicker here. So Hannah got Bryce, and I know I could have come up with something better, but it's all I could really come up with. So again, this is like rough draft type stuff. Hannah got Bryce a cardigan sweater. Back in the old days when the jocks, like in the Happy Days era, kind of wore cardigans, like kind of like as their like their sports jersey type thing.
Right.
It's like it's a very got him a nice cardigan sweater, and basically what she did is she decorated it with has Bryce's name on it, but it's all nicely put on the sweater. It's kind of it's a homemade gift, makes it look kind of a nicely produced gift. And the dark message with that I was going for is that it has Bryce's name on it. Hannah gave it to her. It's sort of like it's like how Hannah will become somewhat of like a possession, or like Bryce kind of takes possession of Hannah in a very uncomfortable way in the show, and it's kind of like you're never going to be able to forget the name type thing. Like she gave a gift to the man who's going to do such horrible stuff to her, and a name that she dreads and she wishes she could forget, and she put that on a gift for him. And now, it's good. It's kind of haunting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Clay and Hannah, they're chatting by the locker after the gifts were exchanged, and chatting by the locker about, these fours again. Hannah's basically, she's setting the stage so she can give Clay, right behind her in her locker is the gift she has for Clay. She's all giddy and she's all ready to give it to him, but she's playing it cool, really nonchalantly. See, basically, she's setting the stage, kind of like Helga from Hey Arnold, very much like Helga from Hey Arnold. Christmas, and she's saying, "Oh yeah, these forced gift exchanges. Oh boy, like kind of like a like very cynical. Like, oh yeah, like can they believe that counts as an assignment? But hey, it's better than doing work, right?" So yes, basically, she would have like worked it some way of like she's about to say, "Oh, and here's for my favorite trainee, I got you a little something." It's basically really nonchalant, like, "And here you go." Working her way up to the Charlie Brown tree. Before she gets there, before she's about to reach into the locker, it's open behind her. They are interrupted by a very loud Bryce making fun of Hannah's gift down the hallway with Justin. Justin is his yuppie yes man, just kind of coming to the side here, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, can you look at this thing? It's just kind of it's a lame cardigan. Like, look at this stuff. It looks so it's like arts and crafts project. Look at this here." And Justin just agreeing with him, just like, "Hey, I fit in, don't I? I fit in." Like kind of like Spike and the dog, Spike and Ike. Like, yeah, we're pals, right? We're pals. He sees basically you see instantly he then trashes it as well. It's, he just tosses it in the trash. Just, again, like per like Justin kind of egging him on. Yeah. Just, this is the dumb gift. Like tosses it in the trash. And this you see the doubt on Hannah's face. She doubts her gesture for Clay. Basically, like she doesn't give Clay the gift because of what just happened here. It's Clay kind of walks off, and they just Clay has a line where he says, "Oh man, I feel bad for whoever the person is who gave Bryce that gift." And again, you see the doubt on Hannah's face, and then she just doesn't do her gesture. Clay wishes her a Merry Christmas, and then we have this sad bit where Clay's within earshot. She throws something in the trash next to her locker, and you hear a sound. The idea here is that Clay, in retrospect, now after all the stuff he went through in 13 Reasons, he can now put it together in retrospect. That's why he had this flashback. He put together what happened. So I think there's enough logic there that he could have. And again, there's the crux of the Porter scene is the sandwich here. Porter, let's see. Porter echoes the lesson that Clay taught him at the end of the season, where we need to be better. We need to be better, and that's kind of the lesson we both learned. She showed us that, and in the essentially Clay to Porter ushers Clay into the realization that, hey, the past is permanent. We can't change it. That's kind of Clay's ultimate arc here. The past is permanent. We can't change it. How we deal with it now shapes the future. Again, kind of your Christmas Carol type message built into the special there, and echoed at the very end when we get there. We go through life broken, or we improve to honor Hannah. It's kind of like how they're helping each other in this scene. They're kind of getting that across in the scene. It's hard to. It's hard, but it beats the alternative, or drifting into an abyss. Basically, if we linger on it, then we could end up like Hannah, which is something we don't want to. We don't want to fall into endless darkness like that. And he thanks Clay, a Merry Christmas, and let's see. Clay gets an idea, a wonderful idea.
The Clay got a wonderful, probably not awful idea.
It was a nice idea, actually.
I'm just gonna guess it's not awful.
I got a wonderfully pleasant idea.
All right.
So Clay gets an idea. He calls Tony, just saying, "Hey, Tony, listen to me." Then, of course, we cut from there because we don't want to give away what he's doing. The parents come home. This is going really. It's really fast paced here. I'm getting to the end. So the parents come home. They say, Clay almost in one motion, because he's so jazzed out of his mind about this idea. Because now again, he's kind of been lifted out of his malaise. He's been lifted out of his malaise. And he says that he and Tony are going to spread some Christmas cheer, some last minute Christmas cheer. Again, rough draft, folks, rough draft. All right, just go with it.
I'm saying, oh god, because that sounds delightful. Clay and Tony spreading Christmas cheer. That sounds great.
Spread some last minute Christmas cheer, and also we need to borrow some Christmas cookies. Thank you. And a little nice bit is that he hugs his mother, asking for permission, like again the stuff they wanted him to do the first season. Again, showing that the mother, they're not really in speaking terms, but he can still show a gesture. They still loves his mother. Kind of a nice little bit there. Hugs his mother, and after he gets the okay, he leaves. Clay and Tony then. Oh, I'm so proud of this scene.
Lay it on me. I've heard you hyping this up.
Oh yeah, just all it's all the stuff forward is gravy. So Clay and Tony visit the Bakers. They brought holiday cheer to fill the void of the loss of their daughter around the holidays. So Hannah, basically, again, Hannah's two closest friends, the persons that she trusted most, Clay and Tony. We know she very much trusted Tony, which the parents know. And of course, Clay, very big focal point of the thing, and they all know this. It's very to Olivia. It's very touching. She's overcome with joy. Olivia and Tony are prepping the food because again, Tony, he called Tony to tell him to bring some extra food, stuff to bring over, and Clay brought the cookies and just kind of just get the idea. So kind of half and half. And then we have a really nice scene. So while they're doing that, again, we've seen Clay interact with Olivia, which is nice. So here's a scene we haven't seen. Clay finally gets to say something. Clay and Andy have a scene together.
Okay.
It's a really nice scene between Clay and Andy. You've essentially saying, and boiling it down here, you essentially saying you've known our daughter better than we did, essentially.
Right.
And basically he's expressing his gratitude as a father. So I just want to express my gratitude for the lengths that Clay went to do right by his daughter and for treating her with decency and importantly loving her. They all toast cider and they have a feast and the snow falls and it's all this building to the end. Here's the big old here. So so this whole sequence is building to a climax here of the ending. It's Clay is opening that item he got at the last minute at the Wallplex. He's opening the item. So we start seeing his opening item. We're not quite seeing what it is, and he then begins to narrate. He's narrating on the lessons.
No, really?
You'll see. God. Just give it a minute. Just give it a minute.
Okay.
So Clay's narrating on the lessons that he learned. Basically, I'm
sorry. I'm laughing because that does sound cheesy, but it sounds cheesy in an awesome kind of way.
So he's opening this thing. Is basically we narrate. Basically, we're passing over something visually. We're building to our next scene visually, and we just hear Clay's narration kind of getting us there. So it's kind of like travel music almost. So where he's basically saying, Tony's right. It's going to be a different playing. There's a different playing field entirely on the horizon against season 2. Season 2 is going to be really bad.
Right.
It's kind of what all this is.
Changed.
All this is kind of building towards that. We see 3 little visual things kind of complementing what he's saying in this scene. So he's saying, and boiling it down again, kind of that Christmas Carol message I've been putting in there. So, there's a hope that we learn from our mistakes and we cut to Porter. There's a chance to do what's right. We see Lainey, his mother, with the Bryce file, the file that says Bryce on it.
Ooh, okay.
Again, implying that Lainey, that she's going to be definitely looking the Bryce, and again, she might have to defend him, but at the same time, I think she's going to do the right thing. I'd like to think so, but she's looking into it. That's the important part. And lastly, I'm proud of this. I'm really proud of this. So to move on, and we see, of course, this last one is not going to be moving on. We move on into the future as better people. We then see Tyler opening his chest full of weapons.
Oh God! Okay.
He pulls out again. We're reminding the folks that again he has a chest full of weapons. He pulls out not a weapon but a red marker.
A red marker. Oh God!
He opens that file full of the pictures he was developing from the end of last season.
Oh God! Here we go. All right.
And we see again. It's a big reveal here. It's all
get
been
ready,
built.
Folks. This is we've got the resolution to the cliffhanger 8 months in advance.
And well, again, I'm really I'm setting it up here. I don't want to don't get your hopes too excited.
All right.
We see a POV shot of from the item's perspective of him hanging. He's hanging up a calendar. He's flipping through the pages, and we don't quite see the month. If I were to be a betting man, I'd say January. That's what I would do. But that's where I'd place it in terms of making it an immediate thing when they come back to school. What would happen? So I think January. But again, we'll see what the show does. We can't see the month, but we see a day. We see a day circled, and there's an X put through it. And he caps the marker really intensely. He puts it back, and he closes it, and that's just darkness in the scene. And then we have we don't end it there. That's too dark. We have to end on a nice note. So again, that's the big ominous tease. While Clay's kind of he's unaware of this threat that's coming for him.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm really proud of that tease, but
yeah, good.
Okay, let's see. So. Okay, so now this is now just so you know, is for context. This is the scene I came up with first, in which I did the Andrew Stanton thing from the Andrew Stanton's kind of writing advice here, where you come up with your ending first, then you work backwards. So I came up with this scene, the ending here first, and I worked everything building to this ending. Is my pride and joy. Here's the thing I have been hyping up right here.
Okay.
So we are now at Hannah's. We're out of darkness. We have the reveal that Clay has been saying this at Hannah's now completed snow-covered gravesite.
Oh God.
And it's revealed that he has been speaking that when the narration started. So again, when he opened that package, that's when the narration started. It wasn't before. It was when he opened that package.
Gotcha. All
He's
right.
speaking into, importantly, a handheld audio recorder. It's not a Walkman. It's not like the recording set that she had. It's like a little handheld, like digital recorder. And like he explains a lot of this in the tape. He can't bear to look at it. The reason I'm using like an audio recorder is because I can't bear to look at another cassette tape after everything I've been through.
Right. That makes sense.
And again, he's also like kind of joking. And this is like rough stuff here, but essentially saying it's not for like I'm not going to use it for don't worry, I'm not going to use it for an ominous scavenger hunt or a message of any kind. But it's just as a reminder of thoughts and memories to share when I'm visiting you here. Clay tells Hannah, again, I wrote my notes here. It's like this is Minetti's Emmy scene. I'm grooming the next generation of Emmy folks. I got to avenge Highmore somehow.
Oh God. Okay.
Where's okay, no, I won't get into it. Okay, so here we go. So he tells Hannah, here's the Emmy scene. There were days, basically saying to Hannah, to the gravesite of Hannah, the days I had with you were opportunities I'll never get again. I have this feeling of emptiness. This feeling of emptiness has to get better. I can echo my favorite line from the show, like it has to get better. This feeling of emptiness has to get better, and that's why it's up to me to live the life we could have had. Ooh. The way you teased me how I should have lived life. The way I should have lived it, the way I should have lived my life at times. Like I should have spiced things up. And every time in the show we saw, she said, "Hey, come to the party," and he came to the party. He lived his
right.
He's basically saying, "I got to embrace that." That way, basically, I'm going to live the life I should have, the way I should have lived it. By your instruction. That way, I don't forget you, and I can still move forward.
That's great.
You left a hole in the heart, Hannah Baker. You left a hole in the heart of the people who loved you, and it's impossible to fill. It's impossible to fill because I'm trying to. I'm trying to get this right here. You left a hole in the hearts of the people who loved you. It's a hole it's impossible to fill because it's a hole it's impossible to fill. But I'm trying because face it, Hannah Baker, you're irreplaceable. Merry Christmas.
Oh, God.
And he walks off. I kid you not. I had this down there. It just occurred to me that this is similar. I had him walk off.
You said you didn't work on dialogue.
Well, again, that's all on the nose stuff. That's not.
All right.
Walks off into the snow, which then just turns completely white, kind of the color of promise, white. All important things end in white. If we learn anything from Lego Batman, all important things. Anyway, again, the snow kind of makes him disappear. That's the ending. That's the whole kid.
Okay, Dragon. I think mine was a little bit more ambitious than yours was with doing all those storylines, but I think yours is definitely the better one. I mean, mine's a fucking mess, and I kind of I had that realization about 10 minutes into reciting it. I was like, oh God, this is not going to play well at all in audio form, is it? Because you see, on paper, I was kind of like, okay, I've got all these days, I've got kind of a cool structure going on, but I'm sure there's about 1,000,001 logic problems you can point out with mine, and that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg there.
Yeah, the ambitious origin of the idea is a little ambitious. I know it's ambitious. I don't want to tear you down. That's why I'm holding back here.
No, it's fine. I know mine sucked.
That doesn't suck, but you have to understand, Tiki. It's just the simple thing of it's ambitious. I'm not gonna say it's bad. I'm just gonna say it's ambitious. And it's a hard sell because it's this. Anytime you say, okay, we had 13, a very concrete number, the whole series, 13 reasons why, we added the 14th tape, and that was a short confession, which that was Clay. That had story purposes behind it, but. Anything you add beyond that is going to be under mass scrutiny. That's the thing. It's adding these little. She had this seasonal contingency plan. That's the hard sell. That's the thing. It's I'm giving it a shot here, but at the same time, I think you did the best you could with that. I will say that I think you did the best you could with that. But
Well, thank you.
I'm just saying, to me,
You
it's
at least like the idea of the contingency plan, the whole like, okay, like I'm gonna give these people a shot, but then I'm gonna give them closure.
I mean, I like the closure idea. I don't buy into it at all, but I like it.
You don't buy into it at all.
I'm not
with any of them.
Well, no, I'm just saying with the broad, like the whole contingency thing. I don't buy into the contingency thing. Like the niceties, again, I would have. I don't know. I'm iffy on the Clay thing, as you saw. I'm just saying, Bryce. I kind of like, just for the kind of the painful. Well, not painful. I like kind of the embarrassment of it. I like the like how Bryce kind of went off in a bunny suit. I'm just kind of.
That was one of the images I was most proud of, for sure.
I will say that again. Ordinarily, you'd say, "Oh, that's the most ridiculous thing ever." But again, he really dehumanizes people. That's how you make him into a joke.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know, man. Yours had a lot of good stuff in it. Like, it's definitely not the most ambitious of the ones that you've done. Like,
oh sure, I mean, yeah, mine was just like mine's in the safe corner, but yours is yours out in the battlefield.
Sure, we'll use that analogy. Oh God. No, I don't know. It's like yours definitely. I think what yours did really well, Dragon, in all honesty, is yours kind of took the ideas that I was wanting to get into mine, like the whole like forgiving and moving on and whatnot, like like closing that wound. Like, that's the idea I wanted to get across, but you just did it better because you made it more simple and you made it into something that could actually happen, wouldn't be like a garbled, like Christopher Nolan wannabe mess of a special.
Well, it's Trev for how can we not do season 2, but how can we can we prep the stage for season 2?
Right. I do like the ambiguity that I had in my thing with Tyler and everything.
What did you think about my thing with Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I kind of took that cliffhanger from season 1 as more sort of an immediacy to it, but I do like how, I like how it all ties to Clay and everything.
Again, I'm convinced. Again, just looking, finally, rewatching, I didn't know what the date was. I didn't know there was like a date on it because, again, it said November. By that logic, I think after the Christmas break, he's coming back. He's killing.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Based on that, that's why I was just like firm in my belief that basically I was thinking about that idea, and then I realized, wait a minute, it's November. Oh my God, that ties it so perfectly with like the tension of like it's a respite before the.
And it's funny, Dragon. Like, I kind of wrote mine as sort of like the build up to Christmas break, but I think yours worked better because it's like sort of like the build up to going back to school after Christmas break, and just the tension of that. Like, it was palatable. It was really good.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have a ton else. That was kind of my final thoughts.
Well, you want to go through the tropes in yours, and I'll go through the tropes in mine a little?
Sure, I guess.
Wait. We got to unwrap. a little.
Unwrap. All right, what do we got?
Here's what we're unwrapping next time, folks. We are unwrapping Courage, the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, boy. And, of course, I just want to emphasize, folks, this is going to be a tricky one for us. What episode are we doing, Dragon?
We're doing the Nutcracker.
Yes, so this is not the most Christmassy of Christmas specials. In fact, many people would wager to say it's not a Christmas special at all. But
it's no Goldbergs.
We're going to tackle
Let's say that much. It's no Goldbergs in terms of all the holiday tropes.
Exactly.
But we're gonna do the best we can with it. I don't know. There might be a little hope in that one. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So yeah, let's see. In terms of the tropes, I have last minute Christmas shopping. I have the whole idea of the stocking stuffers. I have Bryce with the eggnog. I have the whole Christmas story thing with Bryce. Let me see. I have the homeless around the holidays. Kind of the
place
charity
like for the holidays. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I have the charity thing for the holidays. Let me see. I have kind of depression around the holidays. That's definitely a subject that I talked about. Let's see. I have losing a loved one over the holidays. Again, fun stuff.
Fa la 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 la.
God. Let me see. I'm kind of going over this. Like I said, last minute Christmas shopping. Holiday montages, I guess. I have a couple montages in there. Of course, I have the Jewish character with Hannah.
Oh, there you go.
Let me see. I have maybe a holiday poem.
Okay.
Kind of the big gift with Hannah's poem.
There
the
you go.
parents, like kind of a big built-up gift.
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't know. That's about it. That's about it for my money.
All right, let me rattle a few off of mine here. Let's see. So of course I had kind of the Charlie. There's a lot of Christmas Charlie Brown in mine. Obviously, there's a lot of the Christmas tree from Charlie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
We got holiday. You got some holiday movies reference. I got It's a Wonderful Life, Elf, Home Alone, and Miracle on 34th Street. Yeah, those the movies referenced. I got Grinch as well as Charlie Brown. Also, Frosty and Rudolph with like the DVD pack. The holiday DVD pack. There's one for you. Secret Santa.
Oh yeah.
Christmas Break. There's The Assignment Before Christmas Break as well.
Mm.
There's the gift that is not given. With Hannah kind of dumping the tree.
Right.
Which is sad. I mean, that's sad, right? Just like she wanted. That is like it's like an incomplete. Like they both wanted to give each other gifts.
It is sad. It is sad.
I want to make sure I hit that because that's why I had all those flashbacks worked into there. Okay, well,
Dragon, I would wager to say it's not just sad; it's so sad.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Bringing holiday cheer to people who are in need of it.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas cookies.
Christmas cookies, yeah.
Let's see. Is there any major ones I'm missing here? Snow, a lot of snow. That's good. A lot of snow.
Yeah.
Christmas Carol, thematically, I guess a little bit of Christmas Carol here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any? Candy canes. Yeah, candy canes. That'll be it.
All right. Cool. So, folks, in this crazy experiment that we've done here, we've basically tried to go through and comb through, much like Hannah Baker records her tapes of kind of picking through the details of stuff. That's what we like to do here. We like to pick through the details of the tropes. We like to kind of much like 13 Reasons Why, like go through like, hey, that's a trope, that's a trope, that's a trope. All right. This is what led to it, but it's much less fun and much less serious than the Hannah Baker thing. But still, you get the idea.
But Tiki, I have to ask America a very serious question. I have to ask on behalf of everyone out there listening to this, everyone out there who has seen 13 Reasons Why, I have to ask on behalf of everyone in the stratosphere of people who want good entertainment based on a book series, but they probably don't know that, but they're still going to like the show anyway. I have to ask on behalf of those brave people, I have to ask. This process of going through trope after holiday trope, pitch or no pitch, I gotta ask the question that's on the tip of our brain stems, Tiki, the tip of our ever-loving brain stems. I gotta ask, and you're the only one who can tell me this, Tiki. Is there a phrase we can find in the dictionary? Is there a grouping of terms, of words, of some new original term possibly? Is there something we could use to describe this process of sitting down to a nice conversation, going through all the tropes in a holiday special, or coming up with our own in this case, and figuring out what do we see a lot of the time, what works, what can make a really good holiday special, even with the most unlikely of holiday pitches. Tiki, I'm beside myself. If there's only a phrase, Tiki, you got anything? Yeah, any idea?
Yeah, that phrase that you're looking for is putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope. Next time on Christmas in July.
Unhelpful Yoda.